Welcome, everybody, back into NerdSesh. As always, I'm Carson Bradburn, and alongside me is Logan Camden. And today, we are joined by a special guest, our good friend, Jokic Joestar. We just call him Jack around here. We're buddies like that. And Logan, there was something very nice that you wanted to say to Jack, but you tried to say it before we started recording. And I said, no. That's content, baby. We need these cameras rolling. So now, please give him the very genuine compliment in a very genuine and authentic fashion on camera.
Yeah, you said, stop. We have to monetize this. And then I said, oh, that's a great idea.
I said, this is a branded segment.
I just want to say, Jack, I love those little comics you do on Instagram. They are something I look forward to every day. I think they're awesome.
Where can people find something like that?
Instagram, Jokic Joestar. We call him Jack because we're tight like that.
Yeah, we're cool.
At Jokic Joestar.
You guys can't just look up Jack. He won't come up. There's too many Jacks.
Yeah, I don't have that much motion. That's the problem. Yeah, there's probably Jack and the Beanstalk definitely pops up before me.
Jill's brother.
Yeah. Yeah, Jill's brother, famously.
Obviously Twyman for his 62 season where he scored 30 a game.
Nicholson, they're all of it. I'm not quite there yet. And so, yeah, thanks for the love on the comics, though. It's been fun. It's nice. It's tough because I like doing them, but then there's also like this inherent pressure when a lot of people like something to start like making money off of it. And it would be dope because I definitely don't make enough money, but like at the same time, it's like, do I want to completely fucking bastardize this thing? That's just kind of fun right now.
Yeah, just throw like a FanDuel logo top left, throw a little Cash App bottom right.
Okay, that could be cool. I think
there's definitely an angle to take there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, it's been fun though. Instagram, Jokic Joestar, all that shit. Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Hey Jack, real quick. I just wanted to say I really like the comics you've been doing on Instagram. I look forward to them every day.
I wanted to say thank you for getting the fucking cameras rolling first, because if you're not actively cultivating like the online personality, then
this is brought to you by DraftKings and FanDuel, and also the Action Network, and also Underdog Fantasy.
Man, fuck all them. They ain't write us a check.
Yeah. No, everything we say on this podcast is endorsed by those companies as well. So just circle back to that for every. I mean, whenever something contentious pops up on this pod, just be like, damn, DraftKings really said that and endorsed that. That's crazy.
And also FanDuel and also Underdog. Yes, they all sign off on every single thing that we said. And actually, this entire podcast is scripted end to end. You know what I was thinking about, Jack? I was thinking about you the other day. Whoa, pause, bro. Not like that.
Whoa, me when my friend pops into my brain.
Oh, dude, get out of here. No, I watched The Holdovers the other day, and I just thought that is the most delightful movie. And I'm making it a tradition now to watch it every Christmas season. It's only been around 3 years, but I've watched it every year now.
It's fun. It's a great. I would highly recommend it. I had someone on our Patreon who watched it, and they came back the next week. They were like, boring. Capital B. And I was like, dude.
Capital B.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It's not for everybody, I guess, but I like it a lot. I feel because every time you go into it, you have all the happy parts of it in your brain, and then you watch the whole thing, you're like, it's a bit more somber than you remember. And it really puts at least me in the mindset to be like, appreciate the holiday season that you have and everything.
It's warm. It's definitely somber, but obviously very touching, very sweet. You just got to let it get there. But yeah, that movie fucking rocks, man. I'm going to be going around calling you guys troglodytes, calling you guys plebeians.
I don't know if you could pull that one off. I think that maybe if you like, because I know
think I have that in my bag.
Well, I think definitionally it means caveman, but I think they were throwing it around in like asylums back in the day and stuff. I think it was like a medical term for somebody who was like
Paul Giamatti can get away with it and I can't.
Canonically, it was the 80s. I don't know what to tell you, man.
What does he have that I don't know? Canonically, it was the 70s. Have you even seen the movie, Jack? I'm taking your holdovers card.
I forgot it was freaking Vietnam. Well, it's because I'm so pro Vietnam that I kind of censor a lot of that stuff out.
Of course. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that is a take that has aged very well. We are going to talk some basketball today. We already did 15 minutes on the weather. Before we started recording, that was tons of wasted content that could have been sponsored by the weather app, could have been sponsored by AccuWeather or whatever that website is. But we're actually talking basketball today. And first thing I want to do, Jack, is just throw it over to you, big picture. This is the first time we've had you on this season. So now that we are more than a quarter of the way into the year, what has been your biggest takeaway from this NBA season so far?
I feel like it's tough because this isn't like there's so many fun things happening right now that you can't take away from the NBA. And then every time I take a small step back and I'm like, okay, big picture, what does this mean? Nothing means anything because it's going to take so much either luck or significant injury for OKC to lose. That's what my big takeaway feels right now. It's like, oh, the Pistons are so cool. Before this little run recently, the Raptors had been really fun. There's like so many surprising teams in the East. The Rockets have really been coming around, like with KD in them. They've been popping back up defensively. And then you're like, okay, well, let me fast forward to like May. Does that matter? And then you look at what OKC's done so far this season, and it's just like, not really, probably. So yeah, just not even like OKC as a unit, but the individual performances by Shai as well, which you've been a huge Glazer online of. I've been seeing all this stuff, and I mean, deservedly so. Like, eye test, all of the advanced shit, the points per minute stuff, all of the, I mean, he's finally lapped Jokic in EPM. And so there's a lot of people I follow on Twitter who have had to like pivot attack angles a little bit as far as narratives go. But yeah, he's been playing out of his mind, and yeah, I don't know. Okay, so they're very fun to watch, but it just does feel like they kind of loom over everything else that's happening this season.
I mean, they're a juggernaut. That's been my biggest takeaway. I've got two other minor ones, but I mean, that's got to be the biggest one, right? They're just one of the greatest teams of all time. That's their trajectory right now. I just think we can comfortably say that. They're 23-1, fifth in offensive rating, first in defensive rating. Like, they have done this for the majority to start this year without Jalen Williams. Like, I don't think you can undersell the historical significance of what SGA and the Thunder are doing right now. This is just a all-time greatest teams ever trajectory that they're on right now.
It totally is. We talk about it all the time. As you said, Jack, I glaze Shai. I glaze this team all the time.
Truther.
Well, a truther would even imply that I'm some sort of zealot. I'm just spitting the truth. That's all it is. But it is absolutely absurd. I think that we're looking at a team at this point that like clearly feels like they are on that trajectory to be a top 5 team post-merger, like 96 Bulls, 17 Warriors, of course, 01 Lakers, 86 Celtics, and then it's like, why are the 26 Thunder not going to be in that inner circle? Like, they might have the most dominant regular season we've ever seen, because I think that 73 wins is legitimately within reach, and I know it's very common that you slow down a little bit once you get to March, April. You're not really playing for much. That's possible, but this is a team that has such exceptional depth. They play so exceptionally hard every night. They are still so young and energized that, like, I think they are more immune to that than anybody else. You could say injuries, but it's like, all right, J-Dub missed the first 18 games of the season. They went 17-1. We know what they did with Chet out last year, and they're just clearly better in so many ways than they were last year when they won 68 games in the title. And that's why I've been so high on this angle of like, OKC is going to be one of the greatest teams ever. Logan, you asked me before the playoffs last year if I would take over or under 3.5 titles for them in this era. And I took the over before they had won a single one, because every marker you could look at for a future dynasty is there. The all-time great superstar who has just continued to ascend and now is like at this place where we're talking about him being at a Mount Rushmore guard peak ever. At least I'm talking about that. These incredibly talented and very, very young second and third complementary stars. Chet, who has the potential to clearly be an all-NBA guy, at least. J-Dub, who already has been all-NBA. They have the brilliant organizational competence in terms of the best GM in basketball, a great head coach. They have this phenomenal depth right now and all of these great role players on very effective, cost-controlled contracts. And then they have all of the draft assets in the world to continue to replenish that supporting talent or move those picks for whatever player they think fits their roster best. And it's just like, how is this team not inevitably going to dominate the NBA for the foreseeable future? Like, I just think the writing has been on the wall there, and they got there so crazy fast.
Yeah, and I think, like, the way they have their money set up always really jumps out to me as well, because you hear them kind of thrown around very casually as like, well, why can't OKC go get Giannis? They have a better package than anybody who could potentially like pursue a Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. And it's like, yeah, they do, but the entire timeline that they've set up here is that like we are really never gonna be brutalized by the second apron, the way that like you see the Celtics almost not completely dismantled, but they're not the same team that they were when they won the championship because they just paid their top guys too much money. OKC has set it up so like we have a really solid reserve of guys on extended contracts who can play role player positions. We have our top 3 guys paid. Jalen Williams not making all NBA this season, which he's I mean, I don't even think he can play 65 if he plays every single game for the rest of the year. No. He won't hit the booster for his contract then. So he's making less money than he objectively should be getting paid. There's so many different like things that like some of it is, I guess, luck, if you want to call the J-Dub injury luck, but it's just like it's been incredible foresight from OKC's front office that like pairs very well with how they've done all the draft stuff. Like it just makes sense that this is working out this way because they've looked to the future for so long.
That's another one of my big takeaways for this year too, is just how important it is to acquire talent at below market value and never overpaying players becomes increasingly like more and more important every single year because of the restrictions. It does make me mad. I've talked about this a little bit on the show before that the NBA didn't give like a warning to NBA teams like the 3 or 4 years previous before they implemented it, because I do think they really screwed over a couple of teams in terms of their roster construction. I'm not saying these teams would have done anything crazy different, but like the Celtics re-signing Jaylen Brown to that big extension, the extension that the acquisition of Rudy Gobert for the Timberwolves, like I wonder if those teams go with that kind of style. But like you're saying, Jack, it really gives you that kind of flexibility for your future, and it also goes into what you're saying as well, Carson. When you have this brilliant infrastructure from top to bottom with really competent people in positions of power, your general manager, your head coach, your owner, and you have all of this accumulation of draft capital, and you just draft so well every year. Like, look at the guys that they have, man. And there's a lot of other teams that have done this too, but like the fact that they've re-signed Aaron Wiggins on an $8 million deal through 2029. AJ Mitchell is making under $3 million through 2028. Like,
that is the best contract in the NBA by so far, dude. AJ Mitchell is a top 100 player. He is a legit, very good third creator and just all-around good player. They are paying him minimum money. And next year, like, it's not even fully guaranteed. And the year after that, it's a team option. They treated him, in terms of his contract, like he was a guy who was hanging on for life to stay in the league when he's a player who is worth $20 million annually in value. Like, only Sam Presti, dude, can do that stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's unfair. So that's why, people say, oh, this is going to come back to bite them in the future. And, like, there's really nothing good that people can point to. The only thing they say is, like, the
too
eventually
talent.
Second apron. No, just having 3 max guys. But I'm like, no, dude, their 3 max guys are so great collectively that they are going to give them a ridiculously high floor. And then they have all the necessary assets to fill in the roster around them. And it's like, when is this thing actually going to slow down at all in terms of talent? I think OKC is going to be better next year because OKC can retain every single player next year.
I mean, this is obviously like, it's not as hot of a take to say it right now as you did last playoffs, but like, I mean, like the Thunder just have like the clearest route I've ever seen to a team. It could be the greatest decade of basketball ever played by a team. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I'm saying it could be. It has to happen and obviously play out, but like that is the potential that this kind of all of the accumulation that they have, the talent right now, the stockpile of draft assets for the future, like they're loaded in a way that I don't know if any other.
Well, that's what sticks out to me.
It's like the '90s Cowboys, man. Like that kind of talent.
Like I'm looking around and I'm like, it's not just that OKC's so set up. It's that like, is there any other team in the NBA right now who like, we can project out 5 years from now?
I think so.
I mean, I guess, but like to me we're still in like firmly different tiers where it's like, okay, San Antonio, they have this like spectacular one, and Harper, who maybe we'll get to later in this episode. He's looked pretty solid and everything. And you have like a nice collection of guys, but like I do just feel like there's still a gap between both the way the front office in San Antonio has operated. Like I don't think we have as big of a sample size as them just making like consistently incredible decisions as we have with OKC. And I mean just the asset pool that we're talking about here, because like if we want to talk about getting guys on, you know, no money, OKC consistently being able to find role players in like the middle of the first round. They don't really even need the Clippers pick to be like a team that's consistently like replenishing the talent at the end of their bench. They don't need any of that. They just have it, and it's a bonus. And whatever, they just have so much house money that they're playing with right now.
My thing is, I just think San Antonio could close that gap in like one season because of what Wemby is. I agree with you on the fundamental point. I just think San Antonio and Wemby's like jump from really good basketball team to full-fledged contender is like we're gonna blink and it's gonna be like holy shit. Like it's, and I think it's gonna be a battle of the Titans. Like I think that's what we're set up for. Is I think the Thunder are gonna run this next 2-3 year window with an iron fist, and then one of these years San Antonio is gonna rise up and we're gonna see them go to war every season in the West. I mean,
Chet
Denver's
versus
not going
Wemby's
anywhere.
Playoff series, that would be so sick. Like, because we've already gotten so many like memorable regular season battles just between those two guys. That like, hey, I hope you're right. And whenever there's a great team like this, everybody kind of overreacts. Like when we had people overreacted to the Nuggets winning, people overreacted to the Celtics winning. We could be overreacting to the Thunder. It is very different, and like you could just tell at a glance that it is.
Like, there were too many people last year who were hanging on to still like, oh, this is the era of parity. The Thunder weren't actually that strong a champion, even though they won 68 games because they weren't dominant in the playoffs. And it's like, guys, this is the beginning. Every single year after this, they are going to be better, and they have been significantly better this year. Every single key marker that they could have checked, the development of a third ball handler like A.J. Mitchell, Chet looking even better, Shai getting to just like this absolutely godlike level as a basketball player, and he already was a strong MVP last year. He has gotten better in every way. His playmaking, his insane dominance in terms of keeping turnovers so crazy low, his three-point shooting. Dude, I tweeted this out yesterday, but it's actually ridiculous. Among all 32-point-per-game seasons in NBA history, Shai right now ranks number 1 in two-point percentage, number 1 in three-point percentage, number 1 in effective field goal percentage, number 1 in relative true shooting percentage. So that's not inflated efficiency. That is adjusting everybody to their era. He is still the most efficient ever. Number 1 in fewest turnovers, 1.7. Number 1 in fewest minutes per game, and number 1 in plus minus per game. And by the way, the only player remotely close is Shai last year. His 2 seasons are doubling the third best plus minus season from a 32-point per game scorer. It's just like when you pair that player, the most efficient on-ball guard, one of the most efficient players now in the history of basketball, one of the great offensive engines we've seen, with an all-time great defense that we are now talking about as being very possibly the best since the 60 Celtics. They have a relative defensive rating 11.5 points better than league average this year, which is so much better than any other defense we've seen in the play-by-play era. They are almost 7 points better in terms of their defensive rating than the number 2 defense in the NBA this year. It's just like that formula is unstoppable. It just is. And yeah, you look at their roster for next year and everybody is still under control. And then eventually they're going to have to probably move past Hartenstein, who's been such a great addition. But I absolutely think they can. I mean, obviously he has value as being such a great screener for Shai and his playmaking and being
they don't
like
even
that
have to
physical
do
force.
that. I've been seeing a lot of like guys on my Twitter who are already drawing up, because a lot of Thunder fans are comfortable. They would be more comfortable moving off Dort sooner rather than being forced off of Hartenstein, and that's that's a path that's realistic. Like Hartenstein, somebody will have to go, but it doesn't even necessarily have to be him now that he's so settled into his role.
Yeah, I would 100% think that Dort is more expendable every day of the week. I mean, just in part because of the depth of like great perimeter defensive talent that they have. When I have a Caruso and I have a Case and Wallace, it's just like Dort is so much less essential because Hartenstein has this unique value. But then it's also like all their minutes with Chet at the 5 they absolutely obliterate teams. And there's absolutely a vision for them being every bit as dominant with that look full time. Shai's minutes without Hartenstein, even though you think Hartenstein is such a good compliment to him, I think his scoring volume and efficiency actually goes up. It's there's just no cracks here. And every player coming back next year, they're going to have to extend Case and Wallace. I think he's an important piece. But, if it came down to it and they lost Case and Wallace for whatever contract reason, that would not change them being the clear favorite. So when you talk about the Spurs, Logan, obviously they have a Wemby. And we here, I believe, are all future Wemby GOAT truthers, right? We see that vision.
It's inevitable. It's been decided.
It is predetermined by God, some have said, preordained. We'll see. And I think that is going to make them a threat. But the reality is, nobody wins the title every year in the NBA. The closest, obviously, the 60 Celtics, but that was in a much, much smaller league. The 90s Bulls went 6 out of 8. Jordan obviously missing the 94 season, most of the 95 season. But the thing is, there is still going to be this clear dynamic of the Thunder being the favorite every year and the Spurs being the number one contender, the team that has a shot, the team that is within striking distance, that if you get crazy Wemby, Harper, they can get one. I just don't think that they have shown the organizational competence or that they nearly have the overall talent in the room or even the assets to say they are going to be peers with the Thunder.
It's short-sighted to not think that Wemby's going to get there and be that good. I think that it is just short-sighted to not think that Wemby's going to go toe-to-toe with this team.
But you understand what I'm saying. There's a difference between going toe-to-toe and being 50-50 with them, and it's we can get them once. Because as things stand, there are so many players on the Thunder who are better players, better assets than, the fourth best player on the Spurs.
Wemby is the greatest player of all time.
Hey,
not yet.
You're preaching to the choir. Well, it's...
Well, right now, Shai is still better than Wemby.
I guess. If you want to freaking split hairs, dude. God. No, I get what Logan's saying, just in terms... you do see, the two-way, just, floor-bending thing that Wemby is going to, fucking mutate into or whatever at some point.
He's a floor bender.
Well, it's just on both... Well,
no, that's sick. I'm using that. I am using that.
We're already seeing it where it's he only got 2 blocks because nobody fucking shoots on him anymore. There's an entire side of the basketball floor that the team the ball can't go over there anymore. And so it does we see what he will become, and I'm confident that if he's healthy, this is one of the best talents we've ever seen. But right now, a lot of this hinges on what the fuck does Carter Bryant turn into? Or Stephon Castle, even, who's a long ways off. And it's I don't know. Whereas we have this concrete proof of OKC, if they lose Case and Wallace, fucking next man up, and they'll probably win 68 games again or something.
Right. I almost view it as being different windows, where it's Wemby is still 21, Dylan Harper is 19. The Spurs, obviously, there's talk of a Giannis trade, which would be an all-in move. They made the De'Aaron Fox trade, but they are still so much further away from reaching their ceiling, and the runway that they have is so long. Obviously, the Thunder are really young, but still, Shai is 27. Their window, I think, is going to be open for a while, but I just think the Spurs is going to open significantly later in terms of them actually being at that level if they get there.
I'm just saying they could be in the Western Conference Finals on the brink of an NBA final sooner than we think because of how good Wemby is. I'm just saying that I think Wemby could be on a young LeBron or a young Tim Duncan kind of trajectory where that's where I kind of hold him in that high of regard as a floor raiser for any basketball team. So, and I'm just saying.
But 06 LeBron wasn't going to go out there and beat the 2017 Warriors,
That's why
there comes a point where
couldn't even beat the 07 Spurs, am I right?
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, hello.
I'm not saying that they would win. I wouldn't pick them. I'm just saying that that's why I use a young LeBron as a comparison. That's why I use a young Tim Duncan as and I know Tim Duncan got the job done, but he had a much better, I wouldn't say a much
He's a
better
winner.
team,
LeBron's a loser. What can you do,
either, But,
and they also went up against the 8-seed Knicks in the finals.
I'm just saying that I think Wemby could be there a lot faster than he could get the Spurs very close because of how good he is. And I like the talent around him. I think Castle could be really good in a year or two and be where you need him to be. I think Harper could be there very quickly. And I actually like the obviously, I don't like the depth top to bottom enough right now to pick.
Hey, they're winning
off
games
teams,
though.
But
it's not
I
like
the
they're terrible.
Depth enough right now for them to be competitive. So like, and I just said I think the Thunder are going to be the greatest dynasty potential in basketball history. So like, I don't want to
respect the 60 Celtics. Nobody's touching the 60 Celtics.
Excuse me. I'm going to retake that from the top. Chat, clip that. The Thunder have the chance to be the best modern dynasty in basketball history because of all the stuff we've talked about, where they're at right now, the asset accumulation for the future. I'm just saying I do want to play devil's advocate here when I say I just don't want to overlook the 7'4" demon that is waiting in the corner.
Look, maybe he has his 2016 Cavs LeBron performance against the 73-win Warriors eventually, but that's the thing. It feels like a miracle to get past them in 7 games. I kind of think that's the bar that the Thunder are going to hold even the best player potentially we've seen and the other best teams in the league to. Like, it's not that they're going to win every single year, but they are going to be the favorite every year for a while, unless there's some seismic league-changing move. But even that, I'm like, what's it going to be? Giannis to the Spurs wouldn't put them above OKC. It wouldn't even put them quite on OKC's level.
I think it would be one of these youngins entering the league and going to a really good situation. I think it's something like that.
Cam Boozer goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's like,
exactly. That's the most
in the
likely.
Wrong way. No.
The Thunder just get Darren Peterson, and then they win every chip ever.
Perfect. That's great.
That would be the organic equivalent of the 2016 Warriors getting KD. But it's like, what can you say? There's nothing unethical about it. Like, it's just perfect asset
Adam Silver, if you let it
it's
happen,
incompetence by
just
the
rig
Clippers,
it. Rig, like we know you can rig it, and so just rig it away from that outcome, please.
That really, really, really would suck. And I'm somebody who very much enjoys Thunder basketball, clearly. That would put us in this non-competitive place where it's like, all right, you're already talking, Jack, about does any of this matter because the Thunder are just that great. And I try very hard not to take that angle because I think everything is interesting anyways. Everybody's still having fun out there, right? As long as we're having a good time, players are having a good time. But that would just put things over to the top where it's like, all right, we're just penciling in the Thunder for every single year. And that would not be great for basketball. Yeah. Logan, you said there was another takeaway that you've had. I think that's enough Thunder Glaze. I really thought we weren't going to do too much today, and we did, as always. But what's that other big early season takeaway from you?
It's a prerequisite. The one of the other big ones was the Moneyball thing that I was talking about, and I think that's just true. My final one, though, was, and I know that everybody has the anti-take of this every year, but I just think the league continues to grow more and more diverse. Like, I don't know. I just every day I watch basketball, I'm just like, wow, actually this nonsense about everybody playing the exact same brand of basketball is pretty stupid. Like, no, they don't. If you watch the games, like, actually everybody plays pretty different, and it's actually really interesting to watch the diverse play styles and how different they interact with different teams and how they employ it. That's just one of my big things. Like, we talked about this at the beginning of the year, teams slanting towards having less actual point guards, more jumbo-sized ball handlers. Some teams like Miami and Toronto moving away from as heavy pick-and-roll style offenses. Like, there's just, like, teams are pivoting, man. I think the Thunder did some shit last year where teams had to look in the mirror and go, damn, bro, we got to change some stuff to catch up. But I just don't really see that many teams that, like, really play that similarly to one another. I think some teams have similar limitations that lead them to playing like one another. Like smaller teams like the Warriors maybe favoring three-pointers and stuff like that. Also, real quick, oh my God, dude, shout out Pat Spencer. That guy fires me up in a rational amount.
The motherfucker.
Bro. Dude, can I apologize real quick? As a Warriors fan, somebody who has had Pat Spencer on my radar, there have been people who have said, I sneaky like Pat Spencer minutes, like going back to last year, you know, when he played sometimes. Logan, yeah, you said it, right? I mean, there was a couple games that it was like, ooh, Pat Spencer came in and swung. And I was like, look, this guy, first of all, is clearly an accountant during the daytime. He wears number 61, sleeves, goofy mustache. He's the most regular-looking guy who's an NBA player ever.
He looks like the Lorax, man.
It's just absurd. Obviously, he didn't even play college basketball until his senior year. And the problem was, last year, he couldn't shoot for shit. So I was like, you have this guy who's the least athletic player on the court. He was really struggling to finish. He couldn't shoot for shit. Now He's shown you that pick and roll savvy. He's shown you that feel. He is a guy who can get into the paint to create for others, even if he's a little small, finishing among the trees and limited athletically. And he's shooting like 44% from three now this year. So Pat Spencer, he's a fucking
fixes
dog.
Everything, yeah.
He's always been a dog, but now he's actually playing well. So I want to apologize, Pat, for not seeing the vision.
That always makes me so happy when there's a guy where you're like, if he could just be good, he would be so
It'd be
great to have on this team for sure.
And he's doing it.
I agree with what Logan said. I would also single out the Pacers as like when we look at like teams kind of changing their approach to playing basketball, because the Thunder, you know, there are some things you can do. There's a lot of teams that are like willing to take more fouls in games now because they're like, well, actually the team that establishes a physicality of defense early in the game ends up benefiting from it way more. But also, the Thunder, you know, you're just not going to recreate the shit that the Thunder do a lot between Shai as an individual and what they're able to do on defense. But there's a lot of teams who looked at the Pacers and they're like, A, maybe we have the personnel to run fast, and B, there's a lot of different ways you can win in this league. And I think some of that has led to teams maybe being a bit delusional about like where their ceiling is or whatever, with the Bulls being like, you know, we are an AD away or whatever. God. Maybe that's not true, but I definitely
the Giddy Halley comparison made my blood boil. Why don't you compare Satan to Jesus?
I'm sorry, who made that?
Some anonymous.
It was an internal report. It was being
Bulls
like the
guy,
Bulls view Giddy as their Halliburton, pretty much. Yeah, it's like Christian Wood AD comparisons back in the day a little bit. So yeah,
like Christian Wood, man. I love
shout out to Christian Wood. I definitely think it's nice to see so many teams playing different, because with the introduction, the 3-point explosion, there was some similarities, like old man yelling at Cloud back in the day. Oh, teams take too many threes. I kind of get it. D'Antoni ball infected everybody a little bit, but now that everybody's caught up to those, you know, advancements in military technology, now we got some interesting shit actually happening.
Yeah. No, we do, dude. I think that the game is in an amazing place, and like one of the most infuriating things that I heard specifically a couple years ago, obviously we have heard these same critiques about everybody plays the same, too many threes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I heard somebody once say basketball is a solved game because 3 is more than 2, and teams have figured that out. And I just thought that is the most ridiculous thing. The notion that all of these people, the most talented athletes on the planet, with all the best basketball minds working around the clock, that they are not going to try to assemble counters for this thing that you're saying is overpowered, right? That there is not going to inherently be a strategic push and pull. That's exactly what has happened. Okay, we think that small ball is the wave. We're super switchable defensively, and we can play 5-out offensively, and there's not a ton of really effective bigs in the league right now who can punish us for being small. Okay, well now what have we seen? This huge counterbalance of this awesome influx of an era of great bigs, of teams going bigger, going back to double big, re-emphasizing offensive rebounding and dictating the possession game in that way. And so now you have teams who can exist on either side of the spectrum there, which is awesome. You want the most variety, but you are seeing more teams lean on being bigger across the board, and that's a good thing. Like, there is again this push and pull, this idea offense is overpowered. Offense is in an amazing place in the NBA, but we've seen defensive coverages get better in terms of pick and roll strategy. We've seen personnel get better, right? Just more and more athletic, switchable wings being prioritized, being developed in the league, getting the ideal dudes out there on the floor. We've seen the reintroduction of zone. We've seen teams tick up ball pressure to try to slow down transition offense, but we've also seen offenses prioritizing getting out in transition more because they know it's the most efficient. Like, we've seen all these different interesting changes on both sides of the ball, and it's not like everybody is moving to the same place of this is how we succeed. Everybody is looking at the trends league-wide and they're saying, what's our angle with our personnel, our opportunity to exploit some vulnerability in the strategy that teams are taking league-wide. Like, Zach Cram came out with a great article for ESPN yesterday about how the post-up is the most efficient play type in the NBA now, and we've talked about this a lot with people bemoaning, oh my God, the death of the post-up, the death of the mid-range. It's like, no, those play types are more effective than ever before because you're not getting big baby Davis post-ups, right? Like, you're not getting Ed Davis mid-range jumpers, like the players who were bad at these things, which are less efficient play types inherently, have stopped doing them, and it's only the best players who are doing them now. So it is aesthetically more pleasing to watch a great player post up, a great player shoot a mid-range jumper. Like, those are beautiful aspects of the game aesthetically that are also really important when they're done by the right players in the right context. When you are posting up to attack mismatches, and that's a great way to counter a switching defense, right? When you are getting to the mid-range against drop, or you're getting to the mid-range against a defense that's loaded up in the paint, and that's the shot that's available to you. So I just think the game is in a fantastic spot, and I think there's a ton of diversity. I think you're exactly right about that, Logan. So I love the NBA. I'll say it, guys. I love the NBA.
Love the NBA. And we love diversity.
And we also love diversity.
And that is the official stance of DraftKings.
And FanDuel and Underdog, yes. Correct.
All right. What's next on the list?
I thought Logan was going to say something.
Dude, I'm just pissed. They took John Salon pull-up mid-range jumpers from
I know.
me. Those bastards.
Hey. It's tough. Him and Cody Williams always had like a very similar space in my mind, and Salon's pulling away a little bit.
I liked Cody Williams, man.
We're starting to see Salon flashes, and I'm like, Cody, come on, man. You got to give us something, dude. So that's tough.
Yeah, dude, I liked Cody. That has been a tough ride in the NBA for him. There's another team that got off to a very tough start to the season, but things have turned around for them. The Dallas Mavericks, Jack. Are they good now? 1-4-5, AD back out there. Are you buying what you're seeing?
I don't know. In some, it's tough. It's tough. I think they're playing well right now, but I think a fire sale's off. Like, ultimately, I think that's kind of where we're headed. I'm not seeing any reports or like any information coming out, or even any statistical trends, really, where I'm like, yep, Dallas, they're turning a corner. They're not sellers anymore. They did, obviously, huge win in Denver. Against a Nuggets team, they've quietly kind of sucked at home, but it was a very big win for them. And then a big win over Houston. No Şengün, but it's a very talented team nonetheless. And so lately they have been playing really well. Cooper Flagg, when not being tasked with the point guard stuff, has been worth the hype as far as I'm concerned. Like, he's been really good on both ends of the floor and very steady down the stretch of a lot of these close games that they've been involved in. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're playing well. I think the skeleton of a good team is definitely here. You could see the vision of the psychopath Nico Harrison, I guess. But at the same time, I do think come trade deadline time, you're just going to hear a lot of these names being shopped around. What do you guys think?
I tend to agree. There are some encouraging things to take away from this. I think Coop is the biggest revelation. Like, Coop just seems more and more comfortable every single game. He is one of those guys that I feel like that second half of the season, if it's all-star break, if it's post January 1st, like, Coop is just going to take off. I don't know about the jump shot, but all the periphery things that you're talking about, the connective stuff, the defense, the transition, all that, I'm in on with Coop, and he just seems like he's taken to it like a duck to water. Like, it's not going to be like a Wemby kind of leap, but I do think he's just going to continue to get more and more comfortable. It's going to be exponential with him. And don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis being back for this team is vitally important. He is just so far and away the best player on this team. Yeah. Even if he's not putting up gaudy 25, 10, and 4, like stat lines from the past 3 years, he is still clearly this team's best player. This is going to make me sound pessimistic. No, I don't buy this at all. Denver, I thought shit their pants against Dallas. That game made me want to tear out my non-existent hair. Oh my gosh, dude. The missed threes, they went on a stretch in the third quarter of that game where they are just I hated their offensive process. And I don't know if this is because of the new personnel and this is specifically in this game. It's not every game with Denver, but like, this is a team that over the past couple of years, and again, I know they have new personnel, they don't take a lot of threes. This is a very low-volume three-point team. Their offensive process is very, we're going to pass up a good shot to get to a great shot, and so maybe we're not taking that many threes, but we're getting a very high shot quality every possession. I felt like in that game they settled a ton for threes, especially late, and they were just missing some of the good looks that they got, like Hardaway went cold. I thought that had again, not to hate on Dallas, but I thought that had more to do with Denver kind of losing their cool offensively.
Oh, you don't think Nembhard's 28-10 every night?
Dude, Ryan Nembhard fires me up, dude. That guy is playing insanely well, but I think it kind of has to do with some like outlier 3-point shooting from Dallas and a little bit of luck, but they're better with AD, but I kind of land on the side of the fence with Jack. Like, I feel like at the trade deadline, and I don't even think it's just exclusive to this year, man. I don't really see a path out for Dallas. I don't know if you guys heard either. Right before the show started, I think they reported that Derek Lively is now going to miss the rest of the year for season-ending foot surgery, which is a pretty big deal, too. So I don't really think any of these rumors are going anywhere. I think it's going to be prevalent at this deadline. I don't know, maybe looking down like next year's, like I don't think these rumors or my sentiment about this team are kind of going anywhere.
The thing that I find tricky about Dallas doing a fire sale, and look, this is unfortunately a situation that a number of teams find themselves in where they're like, we're all in on this window, so we're trading all of our picks. Well, I was going to say, like, if you think about Milwaukee right now, they're in this spot where it's like, all right, clearly we're cooked, but also we won't be rewarded specifically for tanking if we trade Giannis because we don't have any of our own picks in their case until 2031. The Mavs have their draft pick this year. They don't have it next year. The year after that, who has it in a swap, everybody? OKC, of course. The next 2 years, they give it away in a swap, so it's
You're
like...
lying, bro.
No, I'm dead serious.
Whatever the worst team in the NBA is over the next 5 years, OKC probably has their pick, just on a year-to-year basis.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Should we glaze them some more? Should we get back to it? I feel like I've got another hour of OKC material.
Hey, well, what more can you say? It's just... Oh, my God. That's so insane. That, like, the time... Because, yeah, I mean, I agree. There is no way out. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's like
no.
What the fuck? What could possibly happen here? Like, you're gonna get if you do the fire sale, AD will get you something pretty good, but like he's not gonna be, 4 first-round picks. I don't think. Like I know Zach.
No, I agree. I think you have to find somebody that's gonna be like It sucks. You're looking for such a unique asset. You're looking for a young guy that's on a big contract that fits the timeline with Coop for the future. But, like, I don't really know if that guy exists.
I feel like AD's value as an asset has dropped maybe 35% from last year when you overpaid so dramatically for him because, I don't know if you know this, Jack. They traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Like... It's just...
Well, I heard Luka's washed him fat, so how's that working out for them?
No, that's right, that's right. And our savior Nico said that, and we do not speak ill of the deceased here. Nico,
they
God
killed
be with
him?
You.
Oh, my God, I didn't know that.
You didn't see this?
I thought he just got fired. I didn't know.
No, that was the cover-up.
They took him out back. Damn,
yeah,
Nico.
They gave him the JFK treatment.
I don't know if they do that. I know they would not do this. I was going to say maybe like Devin Booker or something for like AD, man. That's the only thing that works.
Well, the Suns are just playing so like competently right now that like I don't think they would be incentivized to do that.
No, you're not getting a star back. So what are you getting? Filler contracts, 2 first-round picks from what team? Like I just don't think there's a robust market for AD right now. And the reality is this Dallas team was built for this 3-year window. And even if that window is obviously cooked, it's like, is their best option still just to say, all right, let's be competitive for now because we're not going to really reap the rewards of sucking with our own picks. We're not going to be able to get a lot back for Kyrie or AD. Kyrie's value is also depreciated so much because now he's coming off of an ACL. Both these guys in their 30s, both them with injury issues, both of them on the decline. To what extent exactly, we don't know, but on the decline nonetheless. It's just a very depressing situation. So I don't know if I'm as bought in on like AD is going to be gone. I think it's possible, obviously, we're hearing the rumblings, but I just don't know that that's a very good outcome for Dallas, ultimately. I don't think that there is a good outcome. In terms of what they're doing right now, I think that they're solid. I think the Mavs are a solid basketball team. Obviously, the start to the year was absolutely horrific. They were playing some of the worst offense we've seen in decades in the NBA, but they didn't have Anthony Davis. And I've said, going back to the preseason, like, Kyrie, this year for this team is one of the most valuable and important players in the NBA because they so desperately need a guard with his skill set, just like an actual reliable ball handler creator. And they tried Coop at point guard, and they tried D'Lo and Brandon Williams, and like having a point guard out there on the floor with Coop made their offense better, but they were still dead last in offensive rating coming into this last 5-game stretch. I'm not going to overreact to Ryan Nembhard and what he's doing, but I'm not going to underreact to it because I do think he's the best guard who is healthy and available for them right now in terms of like that point guard ball handling archetype. As a starter, he's averaging 15 points and 7 assists per game on 77% true shooting. Absolutely, some of this, as you mentioned, Logan, is outlier three-point shooting where he's above 50%. This is a guy who was pretty average in terms of like his pull-up shooting efficiency in college, but man, there's just like a lot that I like about his game. He's an awesome passer. I think he led all of college basketball in assists last year, but just like really good feel there, out of pick and roll, super high IQ player. And those Nembhards, man.
Dude,
I you got to bet on a Nembhard.
If he just wasn't so small, I really think he gets drafted. Like, I liked his tape on college.
I agree.
Just like, wow, this guy's just not 6 foot, you know?
Yeah, if he were Andrew Nembhard size, then, I mean, he might be Andrew Nembhard. Like, there's actually a lot of movement similarities in terms of like that same shiftiness. They string together these nasty dribble combinations. He's hunting these pull-up jumpers. And again, we'll see how good of a shooter he really turns out to be because he is relying on those pull-ups a lot in terms of his shot diet. But I just think he's a good basketball player regardless of this being a hot shooting streak, as long as he can be solid as a jump shooter. And when I think about what he does for this team right now, he makes their offense more legitimate, somebody who can play with AD in terms of a two-man game and create a little bit for him. And then long-term, as a backup for Kyrie, I love him. I think as a backup point guard, like, this guy is legitimately good. He's part of a trio of undrafted guards who are fucking on fire right now. We already talked about Pat Spencer. Colin Gillespie has just been, like, legitimately
Nuggets
really
legend.
Good. I know. Dude, what's up with the Nuggets?
There was a trio of these guys.
Yeah.
Gillespie was one of them. Hartenstein, I swear to God, I knew he was good in Denver, and they never played him. And fuck, the third one is
slipping. Are you thinking of Jay Huff?
Yes, actually, and Huff to a lesser degree.
I would say Huff when he was there.
Yeah. But Hartenstein, his only problem was he was 7 fouls per 36, and that was thumbs up, everybody. I have my Mac reactions on.
Dude, that is so amateur. Turn that shit off. This is a viral podcast.
Check this out. Hold on. Yeah.
Cut that.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about Colin Gillespie. And so, yeah, Gillespie in Phoenix, he's playing out of his mind. And the Jalen Pickett experiment has not gone how you wanted it to in Denver. No. So it's tough. As far as Ryan Nembhard, I mean, it's cool. Simultaneously, this is a very dire conversation to be having around the Mavericks, I feel like.
Are you Ryan Nembhard, Brandon Williams, or D'Lo Pill? Who's the answer?
Who could just get the juice with AD in that pick and roll, man? It's like, I have no idea. I guess as a backup, it's cool. I am very anti-small guard. If you're that small, you have to be like transcendent for me to be very excited about you being a big part of a playoff rotation. And I guess, I don't know, 77% true shooting. He has been. Maybe that stays the same the whole time. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Like,
no, obviously he's not going to keep playing like he has been, but I like him.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from with like, the not selling everything angle. And part of me worries that I guess my question is like, do we think that like playing AD a lot up until the trade deadline bolsters his trade value in any meaningful way? Because if they do that, then they probably become too good to truly bottom out and try and get like a fringe shot at one of the top guys in this draft this year. Maybe they already are too good for that, looking at how like Washington and Brooklyn have been going. But what do you think?
I also think there's a world in which the Mavs shut it down for this year, but don't actually trade Kyrie and AD. So they say, okay, Kyrie, you're coming off a torn ACL. Don't rush it back. AD, you're going to have some injury. Your eye hurts, your nose hurts, whatever it may be. you just need to rest, man. And they say we're tanking for this year because we want a chance at a top 5 pick in this incredibly strong draft class. But then next year, we actually want to come back and try to be competitive. But also now we have this long-term building block alongside Flagg. That might be my favorite outcome for them, just because I do think this year, obviously, they're not going to do anything meaningful. At the same time, I do think they could make the play-in, because the bar to get into the play-in in the West this year is lower than we thought it would have been. Right now, I think it's Memphis in the 10 seed at 11-13. So even right now, after the horrible start they had, they're only a couple games out of that. Is getting to the play-in the goal? No, but getting to the play-in with Kyrie healthy and AD healthy means, hey, at least we're basically the team we thought we'd be, and maybe our offense is competent and our defense is really good, and we could make somebody kind of uncomfortable in a first-round series. Again, that's not really moving anybody, but that's probably the ceiling, and that's a possible outcome for this team at this point. But in terms of AD's trade value, if your goal is to trade him, I would play him, because I think he needs to play a little better than he has been. Like, obviously, he's made the Mavs significantly better. He's had a couple really good games. He did also just have 2 points versus OKC the other night. And, like, the numbers overall are not where you expect them to be with Anthony Davis. And I think they'll look a little better if you do play him a bit more.
You guys tell me if you have any other destinations, because I was racking my brain when we were doing this, trying to think if there's anybody, like, feasibly that could actually have the assets. It makes sense for both sides. Like, I only have 2 destinations. Both of them aren't great, but I'll throw them out to you guys. The first one that I can think of is maybe Detroit, just because, like, I don't know, like, they're on the up and up. Like, they feel like they need one more guy. The only trade asset or
AD gets to play with a center.
Yeah, so they keep Duren in this hypothetical. My trade idea was you go AD, and you got to include Tobias Harris to make the money work. And then along with that, you attach Jaden Ivey and either Ron Holland or Asar Thompson, whatever you would be willing to give up, along with 3 first-round picks for AD.
Whoa, holy shit!
I mean, I'd say 2 or 3, right? That's what you got to give up.
Whoa.
What's the market if you're struggling to put all this together?
Yeah,
I'm saying Ivy is included for sure with Tobias Harris, and then depending on who you take, either Holland or Asar, that is dependent on how many first-round picks you get. Like, if you get Asar, you probably give up 1. If you get Ron, you probably give up 2 to 3.
I would not include Asar in the deal. I would say I'll give you Tobias, I'll give you Ivy, I'll give you Ron Holland.
There has to be an incentive for Dallas to do the deal. I'm just trying to make it enough for Dallas to because you do have to give up enough.
Well, I'm
to get
thinking
AD.
from Detroit's perspective, and the first trade that you threw out there was absolutely bonkers. They are not giving up 3 firsts and multiple good young players. That's just not happening, because this isn't the move that maybe it could make Detroit like the favorite in the East.
Makes them the favorite in the East. That's the thing. That's what I'm thinking of.
They're still going to get clobbered in the finals, though. The West is just so strong at the top, and then it's like, we're not going to mortgage our future in any meaningful way for 32-year-old, often banged-up Anthony Davis. I like the fit in theory. Well, again, I mean, I never really love AD at the 4, but with Duren,
I don't love
a kick-ass front court.
I don't love these ideas. I'm just trying to, if we are going to trade AD, I'm trying to think of reasonable places. The only other 2, I can't make the money work. Maybe if you could, a Cleveland trade, I'm thinking, where you go like AD for Garland and or like Jared Allen or something like that, where you would have Mobley and AD and Mitchell, and I really like that defensive front court. I'm thinking because, one, I feel like if you're trading AD away from Dallas, you would want to trade him to the Eastern Conference, and I feel like the team that would be trading for him would have to like take a major leap from middle-of-the-pack contender, where I kind of view Cleveland right now, where they would jump to being the unquestioned favorite. So, and then the other destination would basically be like a AD for Cat kind of swap, but it's like, yeah, man, sell that to your fans. We traded Luka for AD and then AD for Cat. So those are the 3 spots that are realistic to me, but they're not all copacetic.
I mean, the Cavs fit is pretty sexy. I think Garland and Allen straight up for AD, that's probably an overpay. I think Garland is really good. I'm still
Yeah,
high
I was
on
gonna
Darius
say, if you're
Garland.
Dallas, like the idea of we'll roll the dice on Garland's health, way more enticing than like Jaden Ivey and like Ron Holland to me. Like Garland, the upside there is like very serious to me.
That would be amazing for Dallas. Oh my God, to have Garland, who's still only 25 years old and like coming off of an all-star season. I think that he's going to look a lot better later on this year, but you kind of have to give up Jared Allen just to like make your roster make sense if you're Cleveland, but you have to give up Garland because he's like the only asset / contract that makes it work otherwise. So as much as I love the idea of a core built around Donovan Mitchell, a couple wing shooters, and a Mobley AD front court, I think that would be so ridiculous on both sides of the ball. That'd be awesome. I just don't know that the value proposition is there for them. I think they'd probably have to give up too much.
I am interested with Toronto is a name that was thrown around a little bit, and they definitely have money to play with there. Where
they do.
RJ Barrett and Quickly, two guys that like you're very comfortable moving off of if you're Toronto, and you could get the job done money-wise. I think they still have most of their picks, or if not all of them. Like I don't think they've been very aggressive in doing shit like that. And they are a team that like you could convince me that they think they are an AD plug-in for Jakob Poeltl away from being like a tier more serious than they are right now. Especially they just lost 4 straight. Lately they've been a little ugly, and so maybe this hot start they're trying to hold on to that, rekindle the embers. Maybe you do want to go snag AD there. They don't have like really a Jaden Ivey or a Ron Holland guy on the roster that like interests me that much if I'm Dallas, where it's like Colin Murray-Boyles, maybe Grady Dick. I'm like, I guess, but yeah, like it would have to probably be more picks oriented.
But they do have a shit ton of picks to
yeah. So, and if I'm Dallas, that is also a place where I'm like, hey, if you want AD right now and I could have your like 2029 pick, we could talk. We could do some business, because I'm less certain that pick isn't going to matter than if you send like Giannis somewhere and you just have to deal with him playing well forever.
Yeah. These are all interesting options, but it's also like none of these fit like a glove, obviously, right? With all of these, we're kind of like, what is the package? Is either side really happy, or is there a world where both sides are happy? Like, I guess that's where I feel like it's just going to be tricky for them to find that AD trade where they're like, yes, this is what we're looking for. So, such is the experience of the Dallas Mavericks these days. I do think that they're playing better, and I do want to shout out Flagg, who has been awesome. Last 5 games, as they've been on this streak, he's averaging 23, 6, and 2 on 62% true shooting. He's getting to the rim a lot more, all the way to the rim. He's finishing better. He's just not settling. Like, his three-point rate has gone down, which is a good thing because he's really struggled to hit those shots this year. I am very much a believer in Cooper Flagg. I think he's really good. I think he's going to be awesome.
I've got one last one for you guys that I've been looking up.
Okay. Cook.
It's funky, but I wonder if the picks are worth it. So, Final Destination, because I think for this to work, I think you'd have to – I don't know what players you would give up. This is pick-oriented.
Okay.
It would be Portland. You could do a swap where they get all 3 of Milwaukee's first-round picks from 2028 to 2030. That's basically the haul. You would do like Grant and Williams is basically like cut options at the end of the season. So you are basically just punting AD, but it is for Milwaukee's 3 firsts from 28 to 2030, which just as assets, like Giannis is going to be gone. I feel like those are some of the most valuable things that you could get. I mean, it's like, what young players? I don't really know what young players Portland could get. Like, are you interested in a Scoot? Are you interested in a Young Hansen? I don't know, but
I don't think you're owed more than those picks.
Yeah,
I agree.
Say,
those
if I'm
picks
Dallas,
are really valuable to me.
I'm like, close the deal, hang
exactly.
up the phone. If I
My perspective is more like, is Portland going to be short-sighted enough to be like, AD is the needle mover right now, and we don't want to 5 years down the road be raking in 7th overall picks from the Bucks? Like, I think that'd be a pretty sweet deal for Portland, this team that, like, yeah, they're solid right now, but obviously not even in the play-in, and, like, their window realistically is going to open later. And also, I mean, we're talking about picks 3 to 5 years down the line, so everything's kind of going to look a little different. But, like, if there's one thing that's missing in Portland, Denny has been fantastic on the basketball court this year, but they still are missing, like, that A1 kind of franchise long-term talent, I would say, and those picks give you more of an opportunity to hit on that than 32-year-old AD gives you some semblance of that, when we don't know exactly what level he's at, but he hasn't looked like a top 10 player this year. So, yeah. Mavs fans, I'm happy you're playing better. I'm very happy about Cooper Flagg, and I'm very happy about Ryan Nembhard. Jack can come out here and he can say, fuck small guards, fuck them all. He wants to see him dead in the streets. And look, we've talked about, yes, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening, as Logan mentioned, with teams opting to go with fewer point guards, some of them, bigger ball handlers. This very much is a league that's all about attacking defensive weak points and avoiding having that guy on the floor who can be attacked. And small guards are absolutely some of the most susceptible to that. All of this is true, and yet you have to acknowledge when an undrafted rookie is balling out, regardless of his size. And so that's where I stand boldly, and I say, Ryan Nembhard, I fuck with you.
I just want to say,
doesn't, yeah,
it's not a personal opinion. This is like the evolution of basketball. This is not how I internally feel. I have animosity. It's just that, like, well, both could be true. Okay, you don't have to, like, science can fuel my anger. You know.
Yeah, but you're still an angry, bitter old man.
What the hell?
He can simultaneously be a small guard enjoyer while being a demigod wing.
Hey, Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd.
Well,
Reed Shepherd's playing out of his mind, and it's so sick, and it's dope. And then I'm like, I don't need to think about what'll happen at the end of the road, because it'll happen regardless, you know?
You think they're going extinct. You think they're going extinct fast. The way of the dodo. Hey, that's a quote from the Holdovers.
The way of the dodo? I mean, yeah. I don't know. Extinct maybe is a harsh word, but
yeah,
I do, especially with the Chris Paul, Clippers thing. I did think the other day, I was like, will we ever see a 6 foot tall guy be embraced into that, like, that size of a role again? Be that good ever again? And it's like, you have Brunson right now, and I don't know if that, God damn it did it again. I don't know if it's going to be a thing that continues to happen as the NBA continues to grow, I guess. But fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, no. I think big picture, you're right. I mean, I think what we're seeing is the bar for a small guard to get on the floor is higher than it's ever been, and that bar is probably just going to continue to get higher. And this is another crazy, interesting thing about how fast the NBA changes, and as people act like it's this stagnant thing, everybody plays the same, I think it's changing faster than ever. It was just 5 years ago when small guards were on top of the world. It was the pick and roll revolution, like offensively slanted rules, better spacing, more three-point volume. Everything was going their way more so than ever. And then the league changes and people, again, have this real fixation on attacking defensive weak points, mismatch stacking, all this stuff. The game goes a little bit away from just like that crazy volume pick and roll that we were seeing because defensive coverages become better. They force you into a little more variety. And I talked about all this stuff in a video I made a couple weeks ago where I went very, very deep into it. But it is interesting.
Probably
and I do think big picture,
stuff.
You're right, but you're radical. Yeah, it's totally boring. It's a horrible, horrible
fuck,
watch.
Dude,
it's way better to just say fuck small guards and leave it at that. All right.
Hey.
That's why you're the best, dude. That's why you're the best.
That's why, hey, man, I just need the fastball.
Enough out of you. You know who's the best?
Who?
LeBron James. But
Some
since
might
he's
say.
come back, LeBron hasn't been the best necessarily. Logan, I'm going to throw this one to you first because I've had enough of Jack. What are your thoughts on how the Lakers have looked since LeBron returned to the court this season?
I can't imagine we have very many Lakers fans that listen to our channel because we're continually pessimistic about the Lakers.
They're here. They just get really mad about it.
Yeah, so
maybe eventually they will turn it off.
They've been 6-1 with LeBron. They've had a 127 offensive rating with LeBron. Yeah, I think the offense looks sick, man. It is a fundamental roster construction issue that what I come back to with the Lakers and why I don't buy them. It's like I see what the Lakers do, and I see what they're special at. Like, Austin Reeves is balling uncontrollably this year. This might be, as we said last year, the best offensive big three in basketball. Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. Like, they are potent, man. Reeves is giving you 28, 6, and 7 on the guy's shooting 78% in the restricted area, 55% in the paint non-restricted area, and 48% from mid-range. It's actually ridiculous. That honky is balling, man. Like, I love all of the Lakers' offensive ability, but there are just some things that don't change, and that's that the defense is never good. In games with LeBron this year, they have a defensive rating of 118.3. In games without LeBron, they have a defensive rating of 117.4. When LeBron is on the court in minutes with LeBron, they have a defensive rating of 125.4. Defensive rating in minutes without LeBron, they have a defensive rating of 118.7. So it's not that I don't see what this team does that is special. It's not that I don't see that the Lakers could win a playoff series. It is their inability to string together a playoff run because of how bad this defense is. And it's like, Lakers fans, I'm sorry. I saw DeAndre Ayton play meaningful basketball 5 years ago. He can't do it. He cannot anchor a defense. He cannot give you the heart and soul and effort that you need from a big man in the playoffs to go on a run.
But damn, you don't his touch around the basket. Oh my God, dude.
He's soft. He's soft like Charmin.
But that touch is soft.
Yeah, and so it's good. It's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. LeBron is ancient. He's withering away. He can't play defense. Like, it sucks, man, because, like, I think Austin Reeves has been so damn good this year. I don't know what you could trade him for possibly in terms of being like a wing asset. You know what I mean? Like a requisite talent that could just slot in here. To be honest, you guys aren't going to like this.
Oh, boy.
LeBron would be the odd man out. Like, I wouldn't want to trade Reeves. I think Reeves is too damn good to warrant trading right now. You wouldn't get a wing on this kind of contract that would fit perfectly. Like, I just think
if you cut CP3, you can cut anybody.
You can do it. Yeah.
You're cutting LeBron?
Well, I mean, I definitely
feel like
like
jokes, Logan.
It's a comedy freaking podcast,
No.
dude. One of the things that's kind of fallen by the wayside is that, like, pretty much all offseason, I felt like everybody agreed this was it for LeBron as a Laker. Like, we're doing this season, and then, like, we don't know what's going to happen.
We decided this for him.
I mean, the court of public opinion decided that that's how they felt. I have no fucking clue what's going to happen behind closed doors. We know Rich Paul doesn't think the Lakers have enough to go all the way. So maybe that's indicative of how LeBron feels. I have no clue. I definitely feel like he's, quote unquote, the odd man out, just in terms of, like, from the second they traded for Luka, this became, I would say, first and foremost, a team that feels like they can contend, but a slight second to that objective is a team that feels like they have a very bright future. Now, an incredible guy who's like 27 years old that they can build an incredible team around. And I don't know. I don't know what role LeBron plays with that moving forward. I would single out in the recent games, what do you guys think the Lakers' defensive rating is with Marcus Smart on the floor this season? He's missed 6 straight games. Defensive rating with Marcus Smart on the floor this year. What's your guess?
Like 112 maybe?
Ooh, yeah, I was going to go very similar. I was going to say 111.
It's 107. It's actually 106.8, I think. And with him off the floor, it's 123. So individually, he's been like way better than I anticipated. And they still have like this massive issue on that end of the floor. I don't know. Like, I agree. It just does feel like a personnel issue at this point where it's like Reeves and Luka are incredible, transcendent offensive players. They are both guys that we talk about as like maybe they can be a positive with the right personnel around them. And the personnel's not there right now. So I don't know. Like, it feels like this offense is incredible. It feels like the Lakers are a good team. It feels like they fall, very much into the, I would say, top third of the West, but a third that, going back to the beginning of this podcast, doesn't feel like it necessarily matters all that much because they're very far away from pushing OKC in a serious way. So, I don't know. Carson, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not a Lakers optimist this year. Now, maybe I've been moved a little bit more than my good buddy Logan Camden, just in the sense that, like, I'm a little bit higher on them than I was before the year, and the biggest reason for that is just Austin Reeves has been so damn good. Like, I thought he was a really good offensive player. He has taken a leap. I mean, the volume, the efficiency you were just mentioning, Logan, is absolutely ridiculous. And I do think, therefore, this offense overall is a little bit better than I expected it to be. Like, one of the things that has kind of been underwhelming about the Lakers offense going back to last year is, like, yeah, they had this super talented big three, but they were just, like, slightly above league average in offensive rating last year after they traded for Luka, and that really held true early in this year. Now they're up to 6th in offensive rating on the season, and I do think that they just have this, like, combination of two crazy dynamic pick and roll creators in Reeves and Luka, and LeBron is able to fit in and pick his spots on ball and do the connective stuff, and he's the best he's been as a shot maker. And, like, overall, obviously, even if you're not getting the most out of LeBron offensively, he's a clear positive for this team on that side of the ball. And, like, LeBron has not looked very good so far. He started the year very slow, right? He's averaging like 16 points per game on 53% true shooting. I'm not too worried about that, because LeBron started last year slow. Now, to be fair, the standard for slow has gotten lower. Like, last year, it was his first 21 games, which concludes with that Minnesota game where he was so bad and everybody started panicking like, oh my God, is it over? Up to that point in the year, he was averaging 22, 8, and 9 with 4 turnovers, 57% true shooting. Like, that was considered rough from LeBron. And now we're only 7 games in, but obviously all of the production and the efficiency, like, it's gone down. I just think his floor is clearly lower. What LeBron looks like going 3/4 speed, which is what I think he's doing right now, understanding, hey, the offense is flowing well as is. I don't need to overexert myself. I'm just coming back from injury, protect my body. I'm 40 years old, all that. But a couple years ago, 75% LeBron could still get you 25, 7, and 7. And now it's more like 16, 5, and 7. I do think everything with him athletically has just declined a bit in terms of the ability to get to the rim, the ability to get to the free throw line, all this stuff. That trend has continued. But also, obviously, his role just is dictating that he doesn't have to do that much. He's running 3.5 pick and rolls a game right now. That's compared to like 9 a game last year. Again, he's just fitting in. His on-ball percentage is like just over half of what it was last year. So that's why I'm not really worried about LeBron. But I also think everybody has to come to terms with, like, you're not getting a top 10 version of LeBron this year. Like, even at his best, he's not giving you that. But he does still help them. However, I'm kind of with Logan in the sense that, like, a lot of the big picture issues with this team, I mean, the defense, like, it's just so problematic. We have a small sample size of this so far, but with their big three on the floor, like, they still have not found a way to win those minutes. And it's only been 100 and something minutes this year, but this problem dates back to last year because as good as they can be offensively, their defense is just as bad, if not worse. They have a 123 defensive rating when those three are all on the floor together.
I'm so serious. Like, and I get that, like, what Jack was saying about, like, Aiden's touch, and I realize that he's, like, a good offensive player and what he's capable of.
Yeah.
But, like, literally, and I know that he didn't have a good playoff run last year, but, like, say 1-on-1, you swap out a Aiden for a Jared Allen, I'd be like, wow. You know, I actually like the Lakers. Like, just literally someone who could protect the paint at a decent level and grab a rebound, and maybe you could dump the ball to on the block a couple of times a game. Like, that kind of swap would make a difference to me.
Totally. I mean, it's just these 3 huge holes of lacking, like, that really good perimeter athlete, point of attack defender,
wing, and a big man.
Literally. But it's specifically the lack of length, athleticism, and overall defensive ability at all those different spots where it's just,
even, can I ask you guys
hard
something?
For me to be high on this team.
So let's go and let's say that Luka, Reeves, and LeBron are all untouchable, right? LeBron's stamped. All these guys, you can't move them.
Yeah.
And I'm for keeping Marcus Smart. Like, I think Marcus fits really well in terms of, like, compliments.
He's making,
what he brings.
no money also.
Exactly.
Isn't he? Yeah, like, I would, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's paying them.
Would you view
LeBron.
Hachimura and, like, guys like Ayton, like, are they expendable to you? Would you try to flip them into some of those archetypes that you're talking about?
Well, Ayton, if the right deal is there. But the thing with Ayton is because he's a buyout, they're only paying him $8 million a year. DeAndre Ayton,
they don't
and
really
I don't
have
like him,
many
but
better center options at that price point.
Exactly. So it would have to be we are giving him up to upgrade the center position significantly in a way that justifies whatever increased contract we're going to be paying that guy. I don't think that's particularly likely. Rui is like a no-brainer. I would trade him. Even as somebody who likes the Hotch offensively, I just think like all the things that they need in terms of that perimeter athleticism and defense, like he just doesn't bring. He's just, a good spot-up shooter, a really good spot-up shooter. Vando is just sitting there as this absolutely useless $11 million contract that nobody is going to want to take on, but could he be salary filler? Like maybe. They have some of those mid-sized contracts. I mean, the guy who everybody's been looking at since before the season for the Lakers is Andrew Wiggins, who immediately would make them a different basketball team. Like they would jump a tier if they got Andrew Wiggins. I think he would be perfect. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if Miami wants to move off of Wiggins now that they're having like this very successful season of their own, but absolutely. I mean, not only would I be willing to like move some of these guys if I'm the Lakers, I'd basically be like, you kind of have to if you are able to turn them into a positive player. And I don't think they're really positive assets, but that's got to be the goal because otherwise you have these three players and you have a Marcus Smart who is very flawed offensively, but very, very, very good defensively still and does the little things, and that's nice. And you have Jake LaRavia, who's been like sneaky solid for you, but like those are the fourth and fifth names I'm mentioning. Ayton is better than those guys, but he's very flawed. I just come down to the same things. Like, I just don't think the roster is good enough. I think the defense is bad. And even the offense, I think, is very good. I've gotten higher on the offense. I still don't think they get the absolute most out of their big three, though, just because there is some redundancy of these guys all being at the best on ball. And then it's kind of the limitations of the guys around them, where, like, this is not a team that has been a volume, very good three-point shooting team that would raise their offensive ceiling. And specifically, I still worry about them against the same exact kind of team that got them last year. We can look at that Minnesota series, and their defense was bad. Their offense was also bad. And as great as Reeves has been this year, we have seen him really struggle against super athletic, physical perimeter defenses. He has had a couple of disasters recently against those long athletic teams. Phoenix, he was horrible. We just saw him really struggle against Philly, who isn't in that same tier, but like he went 3 of 16 in that game. OKC caused Luka and Reeves to melt down. They couldn't deal with the ball pressure. They couldn't get into their offense. They couldn't get past them. It was turnover city. They couldn't get inside the arc. Like, considering how we saw Minnesota swallow them up doing a lot of those same things, considering how these really great switching defenses have given them trouble, it's hard for me to even see this offense as like being right within striking distance of a Denver. Like, I think there's a big gap offensively between those teams. So I understand the record. I understand how good Reeves has been. I understand what they did without LeBron and now with LeBron just kind of, again, working his way into things. But I'm going to come back to like a couple of the same metrics. The Lakers are 14th in net rating still this year. And in terms of SRS, which is just net rating plus strength of schedule, they're 14th. So like some of these very basic metrics say they're not as good as their record. And I think there's reasons for that. Another thing I've talked about is them getting crushed in the transition margin game after game, which means the burden on their half-court play is higher. And that has remained an issue. You would think LeBron could help there, right, as like their best transition player. But even since he got back, they're getting outproduced in transition by like more than 5 points per game. It's still a big problem. Yeah. Do you have anything better to say about the Lakers, Jack? Are we being too negative? Because we've been negative about the Lakers all year. And they're 17-6. And again, I like them more than I did preseason. But I still don't like them nearly as much as their record or as like the really good teams in the West.
God damn.
Just telling it how it is.
Diatribe of killing the Lakers. I do remember seeing your tweet from preseason. A lot of Lakers fans circled back where you were like, I gotta like what the Warriors got going on, and Lakers really look like shit. And then,
I said they look very mediocre.
Hey, it's aged poorly. So, Lakers fans, you always have that, I suppose. I would also point out the one saving grace here, I guess, is that in this 6-game stretch that has really made you worry a little bit, opponents are shooting 47% on wide open threes against the Lakers, and they're giving up like a pretty regular amount. I think they're like maybe like 16th in wide open threes during that run. And so I would expect that to normalize a little bit. They're getting their fucking faces fried off. You saw that in the Celtics game, especially where nobody really played. I think the Celtics ended up like 48% from three total. But a lot of the things you said remain. It had not even occurred to me, the idea of someone trading for DeAndre Ayton, just because it's like, what better situation could he be in on that end of the on defense? It could be better, I guess. Like you could surround him with athletes or whatever. But like 3 of the best pick and roll players on the planet, and you're like, we're buying low on this guy. Bring him in. Hachimura, I for a while now has been like a foregone conclusion to me. I was kind of surprised he made it. Well, I guess the deadline last year was like Luka and shit, so it didn't really matter. But like this whole offseason, it just kind of has felt like, hey, this team needs a boost on defense. He is like the guy that you can feasibly move, that teams would maybe be interested in, and that you can afford to lose on the offensive end.
Yeah, we'll see if they make it happen. I think they should. I mean, any move they can make that doesn't inhibit their ability to build in the future around this new window with Luka and Reeves, they should do, just because it's like, why not give yourself the best shot in what's probably the last year with LeBron? Again, don't compromise the future, but
I've got 4 names. I mean, you guys tell me if you think they're attainable and or reasonable. First, I would just call up the Clippers and I would offer them basically every player I have for a couple of guys. I would try to get Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, we've already seen him alongside Luka, like just in terms of that athleticism. Or John Collins, I think, would be a good call. Maybe Chris Dunn too. Like, I literally just think they need guys on the wings, and I don't know what exactly you could offer.
The big one to move.
If they could, exactly. If they could somehow get Claxton too, I feel like Claxton would be like I don't know what the hell you give up or why the Nets would want to entertain that, but those are names like they really just.
The challenge is like if you're getting Claxton, you're giving up Rui, which now means even though again Rui is not the type of wing I want them to have, now you have an even bigger hole at the wing position to begin with. Like it's just depth is such a problem.
It really sucks that they have like Vando and Kleba who are like almost. Kleba's not unplayable, but it's like those guys
Vando
are making...
is unplayable.
The Vanderbilt contracts, like every time I hear how much money he makes, it blows my... Like I hate the Zeke Naji deal, and it's like,
That's so much worse.
Like at least, I mean, Zeke Naji, if he sees the floor in a playoff series, you're fucked. Like it's not going well. But like Vanderbilt's making more money, and it's longer, and he has, I think, as much control as how long. Like there's probably a player option thrown in there. There definitely is with Zeke, so I'm not super familiar.
His reputation with the Lakers was always so funny to me, man, because I remember talking to Lakers fans like over the past 2 years, and they were always like, oh, look, man, dude, once Vando gets healthy, like the defense is going to figure it out and lock in, and we're going to be among the best in the league. And I'm like, dude, really? Jared Vanderbilt?
Hey, he is
It's just like
defender.
It doesn't matter how good you are defensively when you're the worst offensive player in the league.
And Dunn scares me a similar way. I'll say that much. Like and especially given how Chris Dunn has like not really popped defensively this season with how bad the Clippers. I'm not expecting him to change the Clippers' life or anything, but he certainly hasn't been as like pesky as you would have expected him to be. And if he loses a step on that end of the floor, it is instantly like, well, I can't, like,
for sure.
we can't get you out there, and we can't give you minutes.
I think the Clippers are all very sad. I think they're all very depressed, and I think it's affecting all of them on the court. So I think Chris Dunn, I mean, his last season defensively was amazing, but you're absolutely right. I mean, and Derrick Jones Jr., right, is another flawed offensive player. So the reality is, though, you can live with flawed offensively and really good defensively when you have the Lakers' offensive big three around them.
Yeah.
Like, you can live with that. You just can't live with Vando bad offensively. Where
Yeah,
it's like
worlds
this guy
of
is
difference between
single-handedly
Vanderbilt
a
and Derrick
basketball
Jones
terrorist.
Jr. Like, he's
For sure.
Yeah.
And that should be a very attainable player. Like, I don't know. Because the Clippers, at this point, they should be like, we're fucked. Our lives are over. Derrick Jones Jr. makes $10 million. What if we gave you Vando in 2 seconds? Like, is that unreasonable? Well, I guess just because Vando has another 3 years on his contract, the Clippers would probably be like, no. But the Clippers also might just be like, we're terrible. We're the oldest team in NBA history. We are about to be brought to the underworld by this Kawhi situation. Like, we'll take your 2 seconds. I don't know. I could see that world, but regardless, I think we are all aligned that the Lakers should be trying to do something like that. The one thing that I do just want to emphasize in a positive direction is how good their offensive big three is. And, like, even with a lot of these areas in which I'm low on them, having that sort of half-court process, 3 guys like that who you trust with the ball in their hands to that extent, like, that is a superpower. And it's a very rare thing.
Would you do Hachimura?
Whoa, Logan! He's
Jones,
a real guy. I'm not just going to talk about him in those terms.
For Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn both.
Wait, just Hotch for those two?
You have to also get Kobe Brown in the deal, and then you would cut Kobe Brown because. But you could
I'm not doing it.
I'm not splitting up.
Not for a second will Kobe Brown be on this team.
I'm not cutting a guy named Kobe from the Lakers. I think that's disrespectful.
True.
Fuck.
You could do Hachimura straight up though for Jones Jr., Dunn, and Kobe.
The Clippers would never do that. I mean, like, you have to throw a couple
Lakers,
seconds in there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, if the money works,
yes, I would do that.
Because I do feel like we've seen
I think it would
Jones
make the Lakers
Jr.
significantly
be
better.
like as good of a player as Hachimura next to Luka. Like, I feel like we've seen him be around that. And then Dunn is like house money at that point. Like, it's like if he's great, cool, but we at least have like one guy we can reliably plug in at the wing spot who's a better defender.
And fit is the biggest thing. Like, you just need somebody with the defensive athletic skill sets more so than you need a guy like the Hotch who, you know, can stripe 40-something% of like the 5 threes that he's going to attempt a game.
Great transition
really
player too, Derrick Jones.
I was about to say, dude, he and Luka, I mean, they've got a little bit of a lob connection there. There's a cutting connection there. Like, Derrick Jones Jr., he knows how to play basketball. He may not really know how to shoot the basketball, but he knows how to play basketball. And that's valuable. He's the kind of guy who, it's like in the right context, he's a winner. You know who else is a winner? We talked about him a little bit earlier. Dylan Harper. Jack, I want to go to you on this because I've seen a lot of discourse about this topic. Obviously, the Spurs have emerged as one of the front runners in a potential Giannis trade. Everybody is just oozing with excitement at the idea of a Giannis Wemby front court. They've got a lot of assets, draft picks, and young players among those assets. But there's been this report that Castle and Harper are untouchable for the Spurs, and I've seen a lot of people sort of deriding that as ridiculous. This is Giannis. But specifically with Harper, I know how you feel about Castle, Jack. I've seen the things you've said in public, in our group chats.
Hey, I'll say Castle, he could be my Lakers offense this year. I feel better than I did at the start,
okay,
for sure.
All right, good. Should Harper, though, actually be untouchable in those conversations?
This one's tough. Like, I've thought about this a lot. And the question, I got a fair amount of traction on Twitter. I posted to everybody. It was just like, what kind of career does Harper need to have for this to not feel like a mistake, for him to be in like untouchable in Giannis talks? But there's so many variables. I think ultimately I land on probably yes. It would. I do feel like he should be untouchable, because I also feel like the Spurs, looking at the field for other teams that would be interested in Giannis, if the Spurs want to go and do that, they should have enough to get it done without including Harper in the deal. So yeah, ultimately I land on yes, but it is very intimidating just because it's like Harper, you really need him to pan out to feel good about that. I would like to see like probably 3 or 4 like all NBA level seasons from him over the course of a career. And I don't know, because like also I would be very nervous about being like all in OKC is at the peak of their powers and we're in the same conference. Like going all in, and we now have to deal with the team that we spent 30 minutes glazing at the fucking start of this podcast. Yeah. It doesn't feel like going all in right now is necessarily the smartest move, even if it makes you, if it unites two of maybe the 5 best players in the world. Like it's tough to pass up on that opportunity, but depth matters more than ever. It's not always about who has the 2 best players in the series. And so ultimately I say, yeah, Harper should be untouchable, but it's a very antagonizing decision. And I think no matter what you think, pretty good chance you end up being wrong. Like I don't know. It feels like there's just a 50-50 split that you're going to be wrong.
I think you make a lot of good points. The biggest thing to me is what you hit on with the Thunder point is it's like, does that even move you to the point where you would be favored against OKC? And there's some other like little things on the periphery that would make me nervous about that trade. Like you said, the biggest is compromising your future assets when you are already so well set up for the future. The other thing on top of that is, how does he inhibit maybe some of Wemby's offensive growth, considering the fact that he needs the ball in his hands so much? Another domino that falls in terms of the roster construction point is the contract with Giannis, where he is making an exorbitant amount of money, where he kind of handcuffs the team building that you can do around them. The biggest thing to me is just, you're talking about, does Dylan pan out? And I don't think it's a question of, is he going to be as good as Giannis Antetokounmpo? Giannis is one of the greatest players we've ever seen. I don't think Dylan Harper is ever going to be the player that Giannis was at his apex. I think we can say that pretty simply. But he is already on such a good trajectory, and he perfectly fits this window and timeline alongside Wemby in every area. Position, skill set, and contract, without compromising anything. And I think he is such a sure thing, because you're talking about, what if he doesn't pan out? That's the biggest thing to me. I don't even worry about that. Dylan Harper is as sure of a thing among a young player that you can get, in my opinion. Like, that's he is so far along. He is one of the most advanced rookies I have ever had the privilege of watching play basketball. He is so polished as a rookie. Like, he just makes me feel tingly, guys.
Ooh.
Like I don't watch a rookie and go like, damn, this guy just gets it. The shot selection, the decision making, along with the ability. Like, I just think Dylan Harper is the total package. I don't think that's an absurd bar. I think that's about exactly right, Jack. The 4 All-NBAs, that may seem lofty, that may seem hefty. I think that's about right. I think that is what I expect from him, and I think it is very much on the table and attainable. And again, just to hammer home the point, the fact that Dylan is so polished and far along at this point in his development so early, it just instills the swing trait. I want to be clear about this too. I think the swing trait with Dylan that hasn't been proven yet is the jump shot. The jump shot is going to determine if he is a offensive engine, one of the best in the league, or if he is a really good offensive player. But he is so far along as a downhill rim attacker, foul drawer, scorer, and playmaker that I'm willing to take that. And so it's right, man. It's an agonizing decision because you're potentially putting together the best duo in basketball. And how awesome would that be, man? You go from Tim Duncan and David Robinson in your franchise's history to freaking Wemby and Giannis. I'm salivating thinking about that, but I'm also salivating thinking about a decade of Dylan Harper and Wemby alongside each other.
Yeah, I think Harper should be untouchable, and I've always put him and Castle into different categories as assets, and I actually do mostly like Castle, but I think he is much more flawed, and I simply think he is not as talented as Dylan Harper, who is, like, as Logan was saying, one of the more sure things, one of the more elite guard prospects we've seen in this league in a while. And I'm going to continue to come back to the same thing we were talking about with the Spurs window being later than we may think. I mean, it's funny because, Logan, you're talking about it opening up earlier, right? Like, I didn't think the Spurs were going to be as good as they are this year, as good as they were with Wemby on the court, because I didn't think Wemby would even be as great as he has been this year. He's just such a ridiculous talent that he does put you in these conversations earlier. At the same time, with OKC being as great as they are, with the Spurs still being as young as they are, with Wemby as great as he is now, still going to continue to get better and better and better, like, he's 21 years old. Dylan Harper is 19 years old. I would rather, for the long-term timeline of Wemby's career, have the 19-year-old who I believe in so much than the 30-year-old Giannis, as good as Giannis is, and he is one of the greats that we've ever seen play this game. There's kind of two ways that you can try to build around a player who ascends so quickly that they're great, like quicker than you even would have thought, or certainly quicker than is typical. You can try to make that move early, and you can accept there's going to be multiple iterations of building around this guy. Like Logan hitting a vicious dab.
Logan hit the fucking dab, I was going to say.
Very nicely done.
I had to pump fake on the sneeze. My fault, y'all. My fault.
You're all good, buddy.
That's
I just
stupid.
wanted to see you get back to it there. I thought you were going to hit a nasty one on us. But you've got 31-year-old Giannis, actually. He just turned 31. And so I think about, like, what the Mavs went through with Luka, where they were like, first iteration, KP, is he the guy? And then it's like, all right, no, and that's a couple years, not wasted, but not optimized around him. And then they have the time where there really isn't a second star with him. And then they go to Kyrie, right? And obviously they get to the finals. But you have that possibility of, like, investing multiple years in a different co-star, trying to every single time having to expend resources to get that guy, every single time having that element of risk of what if the fit isn't exactly right here. And I'm not talking about Giannis. Giannis is amazing. What I'm talking about is if you give up Dylan Harper, you're giving up that long-term cornerstone alongside Wemby. So there is going to be a post Giannis window for the Spurs, a long one, where they have to figure out what's next.
Too.
Yeah, like maybe even younger. I mean, Giannis is 31. He's got, for all we know, 5 years left of delivering like star value, maybe more, maybe less.
If Dylan Harper makes that ascension really quick in year 2, year 3, say he takes that all-star leap, you're also sacrificing, again, I know I made this point earlier, but salary cap space that is vitally important that you could allocate to another kind of star that could fit alongside them just because Harper's still going to be on that rookie contract.
It's possible. I mean, I think he's really, really good, really young, but I do think the big picture point is the more important one, because you think about like the foundation that Steph and Draymond gave the Warriors for more than a decade, like not having to worry about who are the fundamental pieces who were shifting around our superstar player. That's just such a valuable thing to me. And I think that Harper is that guy. I think Harper is the number 2 who's going to make this the best duo in the NBA someday. I think he is going to be all-star. I think he is going to touch all NBA teams. Like, I just believe the talent is that good. I mean, since he was a prospect, it's been clear that he is just like uniquely gifted as a paint scoring guard, which is such a translatable skill set. But already, dude, he is number 2 among all point guards in the NBA in restricted area makes per game. This is as a 19-year-old playing under 22 minutes per game. Per 75 possessions, he averages 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6.5 assists on 55% true shooting. Very solid for a rookie guard with just 2.5 turnovers. I mean, just the combination of size, athleticism, elite ball handling, and craft that he has as a driver, where he has such phenomenal footwork in the paint, euroing around you, navigating traffic. He can play off of 2 feet, and he's just like got this incredible ability there. And he's such a good passer, and he's got the athletic tools and the size to be totally solid defensively. I just think he's the perfect complement to Wemby, and I think he's going to be so good. And I think it's short-sighted to give up on that, to say, okay, let's go all in on the next 5 years with Giannis, when the next 5 years are going to force you to go up against OKC with a roster that probably isn't as good around Giannis and Wemby as it would need to be to make that a serious conversation.
Yeah. On State of the League, we have a saying where rookie guard season not canon. It's not canon. We don't give a fuck what a guard does in their rookie year. Reed Shepherd last year, I don't give a fuck. Darius Garland, obviously that's like the typical story of it. Scoot Henderson, we're still holding hope. Maybe sophomore shit doesn't count either.
Oh, really?
But really, that's only for the bad stuff. When somebody is as like steady as Harper is right now, it is easy to see him like, I don't know, growing exponentially over the next few seasons. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we're in year 4 and it's just like, holy, how many guards are you taking over Dylan Harper or whatever? And so
totally.
Yeah, like I'm very much on board with how good he is. And And yeah, I don't know. I do think he should be untouchable, I guess. And again, if you wanted to do it, I do think you have enough through different avenues to make a competitive package anyways. But I really, like, I don't know. You make a pretty compelling argument, Carson, that it's like, hey, you know, going all in right now is very scary. Going all in when you're 21 or whatever, it doesn't make a ton of sense.
You want to be really good right now, but the picture is bigger than it may feel right now. The career of Wemby is literally just getting started. And to land a guy who is so perfectly aligned with him in so many ways, like, they hit a home run. They hit a home run with Dylan Harper, and I just wouldn't move off of that for just about anything in the world. I think he is that good. Castle is a different story. I would move off of Castle, even though I think he is good. The reporting is that they're trying to build a deal around Fox. I don't think that that's impossible, but then the challenge with that is...
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Right, but then the challenge is, okay, now there's a lot of pressure on Dylan Harper right now to be ready to go as our lead guard.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that's probably too much to ask.
I mean, like, I feel like Giannis would be your
Giannis is your
guard.
lead.
Like,
you're right.
I think there'd be a lot of pressure on him to hit the shots that we're not comfortable with. Like the jump shot that you're talking about. Games,
that's a great point.
Games would come down to him hitting those.
For sure. But as you said, Jack, like, he is a uniquely good rookie guard. I mean, the per possession production that I'm reading off, like, that's ridiculous stuff, right? And if he wasn't behind Fox, I mean, if he just had more opportunity, I think his raw numbers would be really, really impressive. And I think what we're watching is really impressive, but he just doesn't have the opportunity, you know, to be a 20-point per game guard as a rookie.
Shout out to the fucking Pelicans game the other day. He had, like, nearly 30, and he was playing out of his mind.
He and Derek Queen both were balling the fuck out, but it's just like, Dylan Harper was getting to the rim at will. Whenever he wanted, he was getting past you, and then he was beating the rim protector with this craft that he has. And you make such a good point, Jack, about, like, rookie guard seasons not being canon because, I mean, obviously we learn things from those seasons, but the standard is normally that rookie guards are going to struggle. And if they defy that standard, it only tells you good more so than them struggling tells you something definitively bad. But mostly that's because guys come into the league and they're overwhelmed physically or athletically, and they have a lot of turnovers. And, like, Harper always looks like he's in control. He protects the basketball. He gets where he wants to consistently high percentage shots. He makes the reads. Like, it's just different, man. So I understand maybe it sounds crazy. Oh, my God, I'm not going to trade this 19-year-old for Giannis Antetokounmpo. 12-year age difference. 12-year age difference. Like, I just don't see this roster being in a spot where it makes sense to prioritize Giannis over Harper, and that is where I land on this. I want to talk about one more team before we let you go, Jack. This is a team that I have been high on, that I have defended, and now I'm just starting to wonder, is it time to be worried about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Am I just fucking stupid? What, like, why do I buy into this all the time? And I said... Initially, I sat down to type out my notes, and I was just like, yeah, probably. And that was the first thing I wrote down. It's just another concerning stretch of Cavs basketball where we can't, like, if you want to be critical, you can't even be critical because it's like, well, they're not healthy. We can't, none of this really matters. We can't take anything away from this because they're not healthy. And it gets to a point where it's just like, how fucking much can I say that before I stop believing in this team? Especially when you look at the guys who aren't healthy. We glazed Darius Garland earlier. He hasn't been healthy. He's a pretty important part of this team. If you get 23, 24 games out of 25 possible out of Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, and you're chilling in the play-in, it's incredibly concerning. Like, it's like a very worrying stretch of hoops. Mobley specifically is a guy where I was super high on him coming into this season. We got some flashes of, like, isolation scoring last year that I was really intrigued by on top of literally DPOY level shit. If Wemby was healthy, maybe that's different. Who knows? But he was great last year. And I would say he's been like a driving force behind the concern of the Cavs so far. He's 9th percentile isolation scorer this year, 0.6 points per possession. He's shot below 50% from the field in over half the games. He's taken way less shots at the rim. He's taking way more shots in the mid-range. A lot of it, when you watch the games, just feels... I mean, if you want to go back to, like, Dylan Harper and feeling comfortable and feeling steady, Mobley, when he gets 2 feet in the paint, when he gets these post-ups, when he's reaching his long arms out to, like, finish around guys, everything feels hectic. Everything feels chaotic and unsteady. And, I mean, he's flashed to different things. He's been better as a playmaker, I suppose, this year. But, yeah, I'm worried about the Cavs. And I don't mean to boil it all down to a Mobley issue because there's a number of different things going on with them. But if you had told me, I just thought he would have been the kind of guy this season that would have been able to steady the ship through a scary stretch of basketball. Not one of the driving reasons behind it.
I think he's probably getting a little too much blame right now, kind of the way that, I don't know, Cleveland's so complicated. I've been worried about the Cavs. I want to be clear about that. I haven't been as high on Cleveland as Carson has throughout the year, just because, and Cleveland has been our favorite in the East for both of us to begin this season, but I just have wanted to see it from Cleveland for an extended stretch, and we haven't. That being said, I think Mobley's been better over the last, 5 to 10 games. I think it was a really rough stretch to start the season. Over his last 10 games, he's actually kind of giving you similar production to last year. I agree with you on the overall
19,
sentiment.
10, and 4 on 61% true shooting over his last 10.
I think it's mostly been the three-point shooting that hasn't been as effective, and I agree with Jack. He hasn't taken the leap. I was expecting a jump. It was such a big jump from 2 years ago to last year, 3 years ago to 2, and vice versa. I was expecting another leap. We haven't seen that, but more so to me, it's been really injuries overall. I agree with you. Strus has not played all season. Jared Allen has missed 10 games. Lonzo Ball has missed 7 and can't put the ball in the hoop at all.
I mean, my God, dude. It's been crazy.
It is crazy. And then on top of it, I think the worst is Garland. Garland hasn't looked like himself all year long. He is giving you 14 points on 35% from the field, 32% from deep, with nearly 3 turnovers a game in not extended minutes at all. They have been 12 points better overall without Garland on the floor. It is just – this is all basically to say I don't think it's one thing with Cleveland. I think it is all these different things coming together. I think it is Garland not looking like – that's the big thing. I can't overstate how important Darius Garland was to this team during the regular season last year. Garland was one of the best players, top 25 best players in basketball in the regular season, and he hasn't looked like a top 200 basketball player, bro. He's
doing rookie Darius Garland numbers.
Fuck.
Yeah, literally. So I think it's all these different factors. I think it is a bunch of guys missing time. I think it is a bunch of guys playing below their expectations. And the one thing I will say, I don't think the defense has been that bad. I think the fact that they are still near a top 10 defense is encouraging. And I think the fact that Donovan Mitchell is still giving you an efficient 30 points per game, looking like a monster, is very encouraging. So I'll say 2 things concretely about Cleveland. I don't know. They are not my favorite right now. I am not picking anyone to come out of the East. I think the East eats
there
itself.
There is no favorite. Nobody's coming out this year?
No one wins the East. LeBron somehow magically wins the Eastern Conference by himself this year again in the big 2026, and no one wins. But I'm not panicking about. I am basically exactly where I've been with Cleveland all year long, cautiously optimistic. I have come down on them, but I don't have a favorite out of the East, man. I like Detroit, but I don't love Detroit. I like Cleveland, but I just don't love anybody out of the East right now.
Maybe I'm an insane person. I consistently watch the Cavs. And I go, they don't look very good. They're not playing very well. And then I think they're still definitely my favorite in the East. That's still where I'm at. Am I concerned? A little bit. But big picture, I just still like their roster composition more than anybody else. And I don't really see reason to think things have turned south so much compared to last year. I'm going to defend Mobley for a bit. I think that he has at times been overtasked offensively this year. I think he went through like a weird stretch where he really had the yips. He couldn't make a free throw, like just struggling offensively for sure. But when you put him in the right situations, I think he can be a very efficient, versatile offensive player. What he has done really well with the ball in his hands is, as you mentioned, Jack, the playmaking has gotten even a little bit better, his passing. And specifically, it's just like when he runs inverted pick and roll, he puts defenses in a bind because he can make the reads out of those spots. If you go under, like, he can shoot a wide open pull-up three relatively well. He's a pretty good driver in that spot. Where he struggles with self-created offense is when it's truly stagnant. When you say, okay, do something out of isolation, do something out of the high post, he just doesn't have the physicality, the touch, the craft there to, like, be efficient. But when you say, hey, you're this pretty damn good ball handler for your size, good athlete, good passer, if we set a screen for you, he can really effectively facilitate in those situations. I mean, they have 88th percentile efficiency with him as the pick and roll ball handler. And like, that's over a decent sample size. And then the other thing that I think is huge for his offensive game is just having Garland on the floor. And like, you already see it. Garland has been horrible, but he does still have this ability to just consistently create penetration, get into the paint. And he's such a great passer. Like, he is by so far the best playmaker in this offense and one of the better in the league. Just those little laydown passes for Mobley in the dunker spot, just creating a couple easy buckets for him a game. That makes a difference. Donovan Mitchell doesn't do that for him in the same way. So it's only a couple 100 minutes of a sample, but this year when he plays with Garland, per 75 possessions, Mobley averages almost 23 points on 62% true shooting. So his production and efficiency is a lot better. I think having him on the floor is going to continue to help. So I'm not worried about Mobley. Like, I thought maybe this was going to be a year that he took another leap, as you were saying, Logan. And early in the year, it was like, oh, we're seeing even a little more three-point volume. We're seeing even a little bit more ball handling, playmaking. Ultimately, he's just not refined enough offensively for me to think that, you know, he's taking that leap. But I definitely don't think he's actually gotten worse. I think he just went through a little rough spell. And this was a guy who delivered like top 15 value last year. Donovan Mitchell has been amazing. He's averaging over 30 a game on 61% from 2, 38% from 3. Like, he is just shredding teams up. I've been looking for like that wing depth for the Cavs is kind of a key component. And obviously they traded for DeAndre Hunter last year and addressed it some in that way. But Jalen Tyson emerging as another guy who's like just legit an awesome, good all-around role-playing wing. I've always liked him as a Cal Bear, but he has totally blossomed in his role this year. Like, I feel good about a lot of this stuff. I still think they have the best overall talent in terms of offensive potency, defensive personnel of any team in the East, balancing those two things. I think they should be the best offense in the conference when they get the big four out there and everybody's right. And so it's like when the big four has played a total of 51 minutes together, and right when Darius Garland comes back, pretty much, Jared Allen gets hurt, it's just tough for me to judge this team in any definitive way.
Are you worried about them in a hypothetical matchup against Detroit? Because I actually really don't like that matchup for Cleveland. I think they could get bitched on the glass by Duren, and I think they could just out-physical Cleveland. Like, that's the matchup at this point. And, like, Detroit has their flaws, and I think that would be a really interesting matchup in terms of stylistical contrast, like the offensive kind of oriented, get-up-and-go Cleveland versus the slow-it-down defensive inside kind of team like Detroit. But at this point, that's the matchup that I'm concerned about most for Cleveland.
The physicality, I mean, specifically Jared Allen going up against a physical bully like Jalen Duren. Like, we need to see Allen hold his own there. But still, I think about just like the overall deficit in terms of offensive skill, ball handling, creation, playmaking, shooting, all of it, play finishing even. Like, it just favors Cleveland by so much that I would still just like them more in that series. Like, Garland has been so bad. I mean, he's only played 9 games, obviously. This toe thing lingered and lingered for him. It was a multi-month process dating back to the playoffs last year. But when I watch him now, he doesn't look like cooked to me. Like, I think Darius Garland is going to be fine. His finishing has been horrible. His shot making has been horrible. But like I said, his quickness is there. He's still getting to the spots. He just can't make a fucking shot. But I thought Darius Garland was one of the best offensive players on the planet last season. One of the most efficient pick-and-roll players. Ridiculous pull-up shooter. Ridiculous floater touch. So quick. So good creating for others. Great playing off ball as a catch-and-shooter. Like, I'm really high on him. This was a top 10 relative offense in the play-by-play era last year when they had all their dudes out there. Mitchell and Garland were both special, and this was one of the best three-point shooting teams. Their three-point shooting luck has just been kind of shitty still, and I think that's got to average out. Garland will shoot better. Lonzo's shooting 20-something% from three is just stupid. Like, I just don't believe that's real when this guy's consistently been in the high 30s. I continue to think Max Strus is a bigger absence than people give him credit for. I think he's such a good offensive role player, and when his absence means more like Tyrese Proctor minutes, them just having to go further into the bench, like, all these things just compound. Again, I frequently look at the Cavs and I'm like, man, they're not playing well. But then I look at them and I'm like, how much does this actually even look like the Cleveland team that I am expecting to see at the end of the season, presuming they do get fully healthy? And it's just not actually that similar. So, look, man, when I watch them
also
lose...
been shooting bad, too. Yeah.
Yeah, he really has. I watched them lose to the Pat Spencer Warriors, and it was shocking. And it was like, all right, this is a real low point. 14-11, it's unacceptable for a team that had one of the hottest starts to a season like in NBA history last year, a team that won 64 games. They're just better than that. They're still top 10 in offensive and defensive rating, and I just think they can get so much better. So the East has been very, very sneaky, surprisingly good with its depth, but in terms of those top-tier teams, there's still just nobody with the talent that Cleveland has, in my opinion. So I don't think they're as good as the top few teams in the West, but I still like them big picture more than anybody else in the East.
When I think about the Detroit match, well, there's a few things. First of all, I did still have the Max Strus thing written down, where it's like you just lose, like once you go into the depths of this team, it's like there are good role players here. There are not that many good playmakers. Like Max Strus can really he could do like a little fake Chris Middleton shit with Evan Mobley or whatever. Like he could make plays for others, especially when you task like DeAndre Hunter or somebody with those kinds of possessions. It's not going to happen at the same rate. And then also they have strength of schedule at this point is kind of wonky because like the teams that have been good through this point in the year might not be good the entire season, but they have a lot of bad teams left on their schedule. I think the fifth easiest remaining schedule, I want to say like 12 or 13 teams or games are against teams like the Pacers, like the Nets, like the Wizards, just teams that should be pencil wins. I'm not going to say anything because this Cavs team has been weird, but like I do expect them to have a better rest of the season than they have up to this point. And like you said, when I think about that Detroit series, I do think like that should be something that this Cavs team just pure math balls their way through. Like that should be a matchup where it's like you can't shoot threes and we are nuclear from 3-point range, and that should just be the difference. Even if you grind us down into like fucking slow half-court game or whatever, we should be able to just make up the difference. But there is that physicality aspect to it. And this is a Cavs team that consistently, you know, you look at the spreadsheets or whatever, and you're like, they're good. And then you look at their heart that they display on the court, and it's like, I'm worried about them. Fuck. And so maybe Detroit could swing that. It's definitely, I'll just say, coming into the season, I was like, this is Cleveland's conference to lose, and now I am like this is so much more of a conversation between the Detroits of the world, the New Yorks of the world. Like the Knicks have come on strong in recent weeks, and I think they're a team that should also be at the top of this fucking conference. So yeah, I don't know, panic mode, not fully, especially given how like Carson said, it's deep with talented teams. It's not deep with teams, the Eastern Conference, that I think should beat the Cavs. And so even if they end up in a weird spot in the standings, I would still expect them to make a deep playoff run. But it's not where you want to be. It's definitely a frustrating start.
Certainly. I am at that point, though. I think I would – obviously, this is just what's been on tape, and so I don't know if this is that hot of a take. I would favor Detroit right now. I just think Detroit –
if it's Cade propaganda, I'm here for it. I want to push it as high as it goes.
Again, Detroit has their red flags, that half-court offense, and I haven't particularly liked how Jaden Ivey has looked since being back. Like, some of these things need to iron themselves out, but I just think about like Asar and Ron Holland and these dogs like Cade going up against, D. Mitch and Garland and maybe overwhelming them. And the Pistons can just smack you in the mouth. And I worry about them just being too physical and too athletic and too big. And I would favor them at this point just because Cleveland hasn't showed it to me. But if Cleveland can just give me like a stretch, man, a stretch of like a month where Garland looks like himself, I can be bought back in.
Here's my thing. This is something that I believe generally about watching sports. There is absolutely a curse of watching too closely. And if you watch every game, and if you're watching closely, everything feels bigger than it actually is. When you watch Darius Garland suck for 9 games, you can start to think, oh my God, Darius Garland sucks now. And then you realize how short of a time frame 9 games actually is, and how much we've seen of Darius Garland being great last year and playing a full season at an All-NBA level, and understand the context of him just coming back from an injury and understand the variance that can happen with a bad shooting stretch. And it's just like, I'm going to hold off. I am going to hold on more tightly to my preconceived idea of what this team is, because I just don't think we've seen enough of this team playing basketball to write that stuff off. Like, Detroit, they're good for sure. I just think Cleveland's offense is so much better. If we get last year's Garland, the 2 best offensive players in that series are Cleveland's guards. They have so much more shooting. They don't play negative offensive players, whereas Detroit plays several negative offensive players frequently. Like, I just have to bet on that. I understand the Cavs haven't shown it this year, but what I'm saying is we also haven't actually even seen the Cavs this year, I guess, is what it comes down to.
I just don't overlook the fact that, like, Detroit's a top 10 team on both sides of the ball. They're a top 3 defense right now. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the league, and also in that matchup, I get that they have their offensive struggles, but, like, who is slowing down Cade in that series? Like, I feel like Cade is serving anything to Donovan and Garland back. Like, I don't know, man. I just think I understand your faith with Cleveland. I'm not ready to write Cleveland off either. I'm just saying I do think that Detroit poses a legitimate threat to this team, and I think Detroit's not dominant. They're not unstoppable, but I think Detroit's legit.
Especially once they get AD.
Yeah, once they have the AD Duran front court, then that'll be a different conversation.
Jared Allen, nightmares, baby.
But what if the Cavs also get AD, and then it's an AD versus AD battle?
And they get LeBron. And
the Cavs get LeBron back also because he wants to come home for his retirement tour. Yeah, I'm just leaning on the concept of basketball being a big sample size sport that we ultimately don't have that big a sample size on yet. I understand if it sounds like I'm being a Cavs apologist. I think I'm not, because I don't apologize for the ways in which they've sucked this year. I'm more just a Cavs believer. I think things are going to get and look a lot better. And yeah, I'm not the highest on Detroit. I don't know. I just worry about that offense. That's what it comes down to. I worry about the half-court offense. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jack. And on that note, our best guest, the guy who just comes in here, uses profanity against me, the guy who co-hosts this podcast with my buddy. How dare you? How dare you?
Well, Logan's cool because he's a Cade believer, and you're over there, you're subtweeting. I'm really worried about that offense.
Well, Jack, it's actually, look, I'm not the highest on Cade. I think it'd be great if he could shoot, better than 30% from 3 or better than
he's coming
55% at the rim.
Oh my God, Evan Mobley can have a tough 8 games to start, but God forbid Cade Cunningham.
No, what I'm saying is, it is the totality of the situation and the fact that I think there's a crazy burden on Cade. And look, Jack, I just don't think he is great enough to cut through that. When I think about how easy offense is for the Cavs, where it's just, bam, we got 2 dudes who can create a 115 offensive rating out of pick and roll every time. We've got dudes around them who can make the connective reads and shoot, and we've got bigs who can finish plays. I mean, if Garland is cooked,
seeing the playoffs. Oh man.
Maybe that is what it's going to come down to. Maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers cannot ever stay healthy. I acknowledge that possibility. That would just really fucking suck, and I hope that that's not it. But maybe that is what it is. Well, Jack, thank you for coming on, man. Who are you?
Thanks for having me. It's been fun. I was gonna shout out Garland because he is great, and I do like him. It's just tough when you have that, like, this many years where it's like, if they get healthy, watch out.
The Justin Herbert of NFL team or of NBA. Cleveland Cavaliers.
You can't use a Herbert comp as a pejorative because Herbert is the GOAT.
Jack, I just want to say thank you for calling out conservative influencers for their hypocrisy. You know, I just want to thank you for holding them accountable.
Hold on. You didn't even point the right direction. Wait, where am I?
For me, Carson.
I'm gonna make sure that you are going to be pointing at Jack. I guarantee you that. So
I'm a centrist
nicely done,
influencer, actually, because I see both sides.
Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, I mean, he's a reasonable guy, dude. Come on, the fuck.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. He's the best.
All right, is that it? Is that all? We're not doing.
No, I'm gonna shout you out.
We had 30 minutes of Paolo hate coming down the pipeline before that fucking win last night. Oh man,
we had to postpone it, and I mean, I know you would have given us some great stuff about Paolo. You really would have, but the Magic got a big win. NBA Cup. Can I say something real quick before we do let you go? Because this podcast isn't nearly long enough. I'm kind of liking the NBA Cup now. I think it's a net positive for the league. You know, like I would rather it exist than it not exist, which isn't exactly a groundbreaking declaration. You know, they didn't reinvent the wheel here, but it's something. It's a little something to look forward to.
Yeah, and they care. I will say that. They clearly care. And when that is like a given, it's just fun. It just means locked in basketball.
And it's going to be fun when like the first actually great team wins the NBA Cup, which will probably be OKC this year. And then it's like just one more little thing. You know, it's like how now there's these graphics about how like Shai is the first player to ever win MVP, Finals MVP, and Western Conference Finals MVP in the same year. And it's like, yeah, because Western Conference Finals MVP got invented 3 years ago. Now you can do the same thing with the NBA Cup. But it is cool. It's like a little cherry on top. I like it. And I like that they renamed it from the in-season tournament. That was like the most bland. That was like the Washington football team. Like, give us something. Give us something that has a little bit of gravitas. Give it a little bit of stakes. Jack, now we're going to let you go for real. Thank you for coming on, my man. Everybody go support the State of the League podcast with Pablo Escobar, who we could not get on today because he's far too expensive and far too difficult to reach and probably in a remote bunker somewhere figuring out some crazy shit.
He's doing codes and shit. He's losing his mind. Yeah.
I heard he's doing co, and I thought immediately, oh boy, here he goes again.
He's
the snowman.
Pablo, huge cokehead. That's what they
call him Pablo Escobar for nothing.
That's what the cameras hide, man.
This
fucking medium. You could be a psycho off camera, and you just lock in for an hour a day, and they let you go.
Yeah. And I think I'll speak on all of our behalves here. We're all really, really bad guys. And I think for me, that comes through on the podcast. You two are better at hiding it, but you guys are just as bad, if not worse, than me.
I go on the balcony in my apartment, I throw stuff off, and I just don't care where it goes below. I'd be throwing,
You probably killed a guy.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. What do I care?
Well, it's a free country, Jack, and that's what we're fighting to protect here, your freedom to do just that. Go listen to the State of the League podcast. Go join their Patreon. Give them your hard-earned dollars.
Hell yeah.
Lord knows they've earned them. And go support Jokic Joestar everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, and if you want to see those little comics, go to his Instagram because they really are delightful. They just put a little smile on your face.
I don't have anything I finally have something to post on my Instagram. That's been nice because I was never a guy who downloaded my TikToks and posted them there. So now there's shit on the page at least.
It's something that'll warm your day. You'll go, wow, what a cute little guy. What a cute little guy must have made this. And then you realize, hold on. Jokic Joestar he's kind of a freaky guy. He's kind of a weird guy, actually. He's not that small, but they're very nice. They're very cozy. And happy holidays, Jack.
Same to you.
Can I say that to you? Can I say that?
Sure. Yeah,
is that allowed? Can I even say happy holidays anymore? Or are they all going to come crucify me?
Fucking conservative influencers, man.
Fuck.
Logan, hit the point. Same direction. Point, same direction.
Bruh.
Yep.
Bruh.
Yep. Jack is the problem. Jack just pointed at Logan.
Fuck. All right.
No, that's not possible.
I have to go. We have to go. We have to wrap this up.
Yeah. All right. This podcast is over. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Go support Jack's stuff. If you want more NerdSesh, YouTube, all of our stuff, all our full episodes, all of our video breakdowns we do on the NBA are here. Listen to the podcast across all audio platforms, and you can follow us across social, TikTok, Instagram at NerdSesh, Twitter at @nerd_sesh. We don't do little comics, but we do silly trivia. We do clips from the show. We do graphics when we rank shit. All of that is there. So, with that, as always, appreciate you guys. I've been Carson Brabber.
I have been Logan Camden.
I've been Jack, aka Jokic Joestar.
And this was NerdSesh.